Hello, and welcome to the Artist Lounge podcast. My name's Sarah Childs, also known as A Gamer Draws. I'm joined by the wonderful Michael Steffen, also known as Funisher. And later in the show, we are going to have the wonderful Jermaine Jose, who some of you may already know is a colorist and background painter for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Nickelodeon. So that's going to be really cool. He should be showing up around 3 a.m. for the UK, so the second half of the show, basically. So that's 7 p.m. PT, I believe, roughly. But yeah. Hey, Mike.
How's it going? How's your weekend been?
Yeah, cool. Stressful but fun. It's been like a weird split, half and half. I can talk about random stuff. It's cool. How have you been?
I've been fine, usual. Stayed up late Sunday like always. Which reminds me, I need to text someone about the podcast. They really want to. Someone I was talking to at the bar last night, they really want to watch my weekly going out and dancing, Starting to get to know the community over there pretty well, and so that's nifty, which is much better. I have some advice, I know for all you single guy artists out there, right? You go out at night in the town. I tried this on Saturday. You want to go out on your own, and you go out and you meet people and have fun. I can honestly say, you should just not do that. You should just stay home and make art. Because, you can go out and you can meet women, but they're going to make you feel horrible about yourself. So you should just stay home and work on the art. It's much better plan. Unless you're dancing. That's my advice.
So don't go outside is your advice?
My advice is just don't go out and, meet people. Just, stay home and work on your art. Because they're just, people are monsters.
I'm glad that the show started with that. This isn't the Halloween podcast. By the way, next week we'll be having a Halloween special podcast, which should be great fun. We will be doing a Inktober Drawleen mashup, so all you people doing Inktober will be able to fit it into your October craziness, get your inks and pens and brush pens and everything ready. And we'll be drawing monsters, or you're welcome to do RGDs with a Halloween twist or anything like that. So just so people know, that's pretty cool. That'll be the first in our kind of themes thing. Excited. Do you want to explain what you're drawing, and then I'll explain what I'm drawing?
Yes. This is, I don't know, it's pronounced Jasty Root or Jasty Root. An RG talented, RGD artist, regular, submitted photos right when I needed them most, so I get to do an oil painting instead of trying to do something with an ink drawing with a photo I'm not happy about. We got a good portrait, nice lighting. He just knows.
I think he did know. I think that it was put up deliberately right for when we were going to go live with the podcast.
Yeah. Where was he before I decided to try to go out on Saturday night? I needed this. This is what I needed to happen, so I could stay home and make art and make the right decision.
Boom.
And then, you're going to explain to people what you're going to be drawing.
Okay, so barring that my computer doesn't explode, so basically I'm going to be working on my banner. So I've got MCM London, which is the London October show is basically my biggest show of the year that I do. And that is this weekend, so it's Friday full day till Sunday full day. So the doors open at 10 each of the days. So I decided to make a banner. Right, I always decide stuff way too late. I'm like, let's do a thing, and let's do it right now, 3 days before the show. That sounds intelligent. So I've got business cards arriving, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but we're going to be working on the banner now because if I complete the banner in time for tomorrow afternoon, then I can send it off to be processed and printed on Wednesday to be delivered for Thursday to then take to the show on Friday. That is the current plan. So it's a very, very big file. So if there's glitchiness on the stream or the stream starts to lag, let me know in the comments, because it could probably be because I'm streaming the whole thing from my computer and screen sharing and working on something that's 6,000 millimeters high. So just let me know. And then if it is causing problems or I'm unable to draw because it's lagging too much, then I'll just jump on over to an RGD. It's fine. But I could really use the time to work on this right now. But yeah, I'll jump over and show a little bit of that, actually, so you guys know what I'm doing. Share screen. Okay, so this is the banner. This is the full size. I'm doing it to the size of the print. You may notice that this is not in CMYK. Yes, it needs to be in CMYK to print. However, Manga Studio, as far as I can tell, it won't let me use CMYK for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because they don't have a mode or if because I haven't ticked the correct thing, but I'm currently working in RGB. I'll be taking it over to Photoshop for the final touches, and I actually jump in and out of Photoshop and Manga Studio a lot for this kind of thing, so you might see me flicking over depending on how much my computer can cope with both art programs being open. So the design is, this is a location from my book series. I'm trying to make this table tie in a lot better and match my book series. So the full design is this, if you can see that. So we've got the location of the Crystal Forest, New Eden over here. Then obviously there's the moon. I'm going to have Geisra, which is the dragon from the book. He's going to be in the silhouette of the moon. And then the mountains in the opposite New Eden. This is the spire here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but we've got sort of like an isometric view of a cityscape with the spire and then the rest of the lost city. And then I have all the main like band of heroes group from the books. So Mikana, Aiki, Car, Emmy, Nyx, and Star. So I'll be drawing all of those. I don't know how far I'll get. Hopefully I can get pretty far in the show, but we shall see. Whereabouts will you be at MCM? So I believe I am at CJ18, but I will be posting a map on my Facebook so that you guys can literally see my exact location and come and find me, because MCM London is really massive in comparison to the other MCMs, so it's quite hard to find stuff. So I will put a little map up on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Gyzra, Gyzra, and that'll have like a nice big map of the whole of the MCM hall, and then a line that shows you how to get to me with a little like circle around my stall. So you can find me through that. But yeah, that's what I'll be working on. All. If my computer doesn't explode.
I'm scrambling here to get everything still. And I think I'm good. I think I'm going to switch screens.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, here we go. All right. Be back in a sec.
Someone just asked for a confirmation on what the Halloween episode will be. So the Halloween episode will be next week, same time as this show, and we will be drawing like Draw-A-Lean/Inktober pieces. So ink pens, fine liners, brush tips, all of that lot. Get all that out, markers, anything like that, any of the kinds of things that would go with Inktober. And then we'll be working on either you can do like RGDs with like a Halloween twist, turn someone into a monster, add some pumpkins, that kind of thing, or draw monsters and creatures and stuff, which is what I'll probably be doing. But yeah, that's what next week's show will be. This week we have the wonderful Jermaine Jose showing up halfway through the show.
Gonna switch up the thing now. Here we go.
I think I'm going to work on the river first. Okay, so do you want to hear a stupid story about a phone?
About a phone?
Phone, yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear a stupid story about a phone.
So you know how I said like my weekend was half stress, half fun?
Yes.
This half is the stress. So, over the weekend, you know that glorious phone that I was so excited about?
Yeah. Oh, God damn it. What'd you do to the phone?
I didn't do anything, right? The phone is a butt, okay?
Okay.
So, I got a glorious new smartphone that I was so excited for. It was the iPhone 5S, I think that's right.
Yeah.
And I was very happy. I fell in love with it. Now, as you may be aware, I used up the data on it incredibly quickly. Now, I've recently found out that possibly not everywhere in the world works with phones in the same way. So here in the UK, you have like different allowances for different parts of the phone. So your data allowance covers how much internet you get, essentially. So downloads and uploads. I used all of it up, like, just from MCM Glasgow. And I was like, oh, well, that's fine. I can just use the Wi-Fi. That's all right. Yeah. Well, the Wi-Fi grayed out. And before everyone is like, I know how to fix this, and here's a Google thing, and all that. Dude, I spent over 5 hours on tech support with Apple, and I had 4 different people at Apple try and fix this. No one could do it. So my phone just decided to grey out the internet. It's like the internet doesn't exist anymore. Good luck. Like the Wi-Fi just it was like, nope.
What happened?
I don't know.
Did you find out? Oh, it hasn't been solved.
Right? I was on the phone for like 4 or 5 hours with these guys, and it just ended up with them going, you need the phone replaced.
Oh my God. You have the worst luck with electronics. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why, like, none of them ever work when you get them.
I know.
They should really just test out this stuff. Like, they should give it to you first, and then you just find a way to make it not work, and then they can repair things. You just be like a beta tester for new,
That is actually true. They just like wave it in my general direction, it breaks. They're like, what did you do? I'm like, I don't know.
Be like, you could have like, Microsoft could be like, we got our Microsoft Surface Book coming out, and before we send a pallet of them to Mike from the from the Artist Lounge podcast, because he mentioned them, we're gonna send him one for free. But before we do that, we're gonna send one to Sarah and to see how it can break.
I'm so upset, man.
You click 2 things on the touchpad, it catches on fire.
Yeah, I know, right?
Plays a muted trumpet sound.
I've had laptops actually explode on me. Like, it's not fair.
It's just magical. I don't know how you're so good at making sure that electronics won't work.
I don't know. But like my favorite thing about it was like I guess Apple has like a new policy for the way you have to talk on the phone, like the way they have to talk. Because whenever I've called them in the past, they've been great, right? Yeah. But this time, every single person that I spoke to on the phone did this really weird thing that I don't understand, okay? So you know when you're on the phone with some kind of company and they're like, all right, I'm going to put you on hold whilst we try and figure this out, or I talk to my supervisor or whatever, right? Mildly annoying because you're sat on hold for however long, but perfectly acceptable, okay? Every single person that I had at Apple this weekend was like, okay, ma'am, we're going to get through this together. We're just going to, like, the whole time that they're essentially Googling the issue, they're just going, we're going to get through this together. By the end of this phone call, you're going to have a perfectly good phone. You're going to be able to walk away a happy customer. It's like, dude.
They didn't. Well, not only is that kind of funny and annoying, but they had no idea who they were dealing with when they were making these promises.
I know, right?
We're going to get through this together. By the end, they're just like, you need a new phone. You need a new phone.
And I had like loads of different accents. All the different people I had like a different accent. And the American was the first person I had. And he spent the whole time doing that. And then he'd just like keep going. He's like, all right, ma'am, it's going to be fine. And then the second person that I had was a Scandinavian, okay? And oh my God, right? He was just like, he said all of it, but I guess he wasn't like, I don't know, he either just didn't care or didn't realize that he was still talking to me or whatever, because he'd say, everything's going to be fine. We're going to fix this problem, and then you're going to be able to walk away with a brand new phone. And then all of a sudden he'd go, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. Do you know what you just said to me? And then go straight back to the original script.
Everything's going to be fine. This is a nightmare. I don't know how to get out of this phone call. I just want to go home. Everything is going to work out. And then they're just reassuring themselves eventually.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, dude, Justy U is in chat.
Woo! Welcome, Justy U. I think I accidentally called you Justy Root in the intro. My bad. That was totally my bad.
My bad.
I done goofed.
River at night. Google.
Oh, the red's really doing a weird glowing thing on the cam there.
It is. It looks like mega evil.
It's good. It makes it really easy for people to see. Oh my Lord, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, just well, you know, I'm always out on Sunday nights because that's when I go listen to my boogie musics and get down and have fun. It's the best part of my week. And yeah. But then normally I don't go out on Saturday night, but I was feeling it this Saturday and I made the mistake of going out. And I sat down and I'm at a bar. I'm by myself because all my other friends were just like, no, we don't want to go out. That's a terrible idea. Why would you do that? And I'm like, because it's fun. So I go out. And then, yeah, I'm at a bar. And it's interesting. I noticed everybody, because I don't know, sometimes I just sit there and like, just people watch, you know? Try to people watch without staring, right? That's like the challenge, is to like watch people, but without sitting there in a corner just staring at people. So I'm people watching, and it's interesting because I noticed that everyone's showing up, but they all like, everyone is like seriously just like they're on first dates. It's really, you can just totally tell, and they're all just meeting up at these places. There's like these few bars, particularly in Oakland, where everyone is clearly meeting from like Tinder or OkCupid. And it's kind of fascinating to watch, you know. No, that's probably outside my. Oh, there it goes. But I realize how interesting it is how like culturally now, like people aren't used to, like even less so, going out and then just talking to people at the place. They're more used to like going somewhere because they're supposed to meet someone there. Mm-hmm. And it's a very, even in the short period, you know, I'm 32. So even in my own lifetime, that's changed pretty significantly, you know. And there's a couple spots where I feel like you can find places where people just go because they go there regularly and they know each other. Like there's a bar around the corner from here called the Kingfish that was very much like that. Though admittedly they added a patio, and that's like adding a patio to a bar is like chumming the waters, but instead of sharks, you're just like chumming the waters for bros. Like once you add like an outdoor patio to a bar, it just turns into a bro fest. I don't know why. But most places now, it was interesting. Like everyone's there and they're like clearly like waiting for someone specifically. And it's really interesting. I don't know. I kind of realized that like this is kind of a new thing, like within these proportions, you know.
That is kind of interesting because that's something that I do, but if I think of what I think a bar should be like, that's not what I think of. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I kind of feel
weirdly said that, but
like I feel like you should go out to a bar because I just like the idea of going out and just talking to anybody, you know. And that's why on my Sunday nights when I go out, it's cool because it's the like old electro boogie music night, and so you'll meet people that are there because they like that music. And I've met a bunch of people, and it's cool, and you just go and you hang out and socialize, you know. But like a lot of other places, it's kind of put a weird pressure, I think, on the whole single world, where it used to be you go there, maybe you talk to people, whatever. But now it's like people are very much at bars to like to meet, to date specifically. And it's even more so than it already was. I think people went to bars because it would be fun. And then in the back of your mind, everyone always has that thing, oh, maybe you meet someone or something like that, which is not a good way to do it. But that's like always there. But now it really feels like it's people are there only for that reason. And eventually I ran into someone there that was there just by themselves. So I was talking to them, asking them like, hey, like, what brings you here? Everyone here seems to be just like kind of meeting up or waiting, and talk to her for a bit. And then I think just in general, I think it was just weirded her out. I was talking to her. I don't know why. And she was like so like rude about it. It was so weird. Like, I think she was like trying to be polite, but she was just like, I think I'm going to instinctually just be like really off put, and like, it was really bizarre. And then like, I just was like, I'm just trying to like have a conversation. And then I feel
wait, in what way? Because I'm wondering if this is like,
it was in a way where it was very like, okay, I thought about it and I'm like, well, whatever, the person's just leaving, right? But it was very much like avoidance, like talk quick, and then literally like, oh, cool. And then I go to get a drink, and then she like leaves the spot where we were talking to just like to get out of sight, like immediately. And I was like, oh my God, like, am I like that weird? Like,
oh no,
like,
I do.
But it was very pronounced and clear. And then there was like, just chatting at first and it's fine, but then there's a very like obvious kind of like, like they're just like, suddenly there's a turn, and it just gets weird. And so even I'm like, I don't know, this is weird. I gotta get away. I'm gonna just politely excuse from this. But I was almost kind of annoyed because it's like, why? Like, it was such like a pronounced kind of bizarre, sudden, almost disdain that almost took me by surprise. Because it was just like,
I wonder if it was just like, this is my don't hit on me face. Because like sometimes for women it can get kind of like people hit on you when you're outside. So assume like if someone randomly walks up to you and talks to you, it's like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, what made it bizarre is she had just gotten off from she had just like left a bad Tinder date where a dude just lied to her a whole bunch. He pretty much like didn't tell her that he had kids and stuff, like pretty big things you might want to mention to people. I'm just like, oh my God, really? It was just fascinating. But then suddenly it just like felt like the weird attitude turned against me, and I'm just like, whoa, like, no, like. And
yeah, that is.
But it's funny, like, I've been in bars and I've had people and I've had dudes who are just like totally sloppy, drunk, and weird just sit down next to me and start having these rambling conversations. I've had creepy people talking to me. But even then, I never still went to the extreme that like she did suddenly with me, where it was like it was just like, oh my God, like it immediately just made me feel like some piece of shit for literally just having a conversation with the person. Like, it was really weird. And so like, it was just like, I got to get the hell out of here. Like, I feel like a total dirtbag. Like, I was just having a conversation and now I feel like a total fucking dirtbag. And it's like, I got to get the hell out of here. So I did. But it was just like, oh my God, like to the point where, I don't know, like it just seemed, is a thing where like, I get it, because people are going to like, there's just so many freaking weirdos out there, and it, you don't always want to talk to everybody, understandable. But it still kind of like annoyed me how fast it just suddenly turned into like, suddenly like I'm being an asshole. You know what I mean? It was really bizarre. It was just really strange, which is also why I recommend it's better just to stay at home, make art. and not go out and talk to people because they'll just be horrific to you for no reason. It's very strange. I don't know what's wrong with people. Maybe I was weird. I don't know.
I don't know.
Am I weird? When we talk here, are you just like, Jesus Christ, I got to get the hell away from Mike? Why does he keep doing this podcast thing?
I mean,
He's
no.
gonna stop it.
No, otherwise we wouldn't have like done this.
Yeah, otherwise we wouldn't be doing this.
Episodes.
You know, I would have been. I'm pretty sure by now it would have been like, hey, let's not do this anymore ever, right?
Not. That'd be great.
You would have like deleted the Reddit account, have to like make a new account name and like start over from scratch, right? It was so weird though. I seriously felt so creepy, but like I would understand that if I felt like I was really being creepy. But it was like I suddenly felt so creepy it was just baffling my mind. I'm like, what did I say? Like I'm not like doing anything. Maybe it's that I wasn't even trying to flirt that made it seem like I was maybe doing a bad job flirting because I wasn't even doing it at all. So I wasn't doing it right. It's baffling. I've just never had a person so suddenly get so kind of rude and weird to me. Like even just talking to random strangers, like I've talked to people at bars before. It's, you just get to know people. It's fun. And I was just so confused. Like I've never felt so dissed, like just so suddenly.
Aww.
I was like, no wonder people are insane. Like,
what the hell?
Yeah, it was horrific.
I went to Thorpe Park this weekend.
Thought Park? What?
It's a theme park, like a roller coaster park.
Oh.
And it's like focused around water rides, but it's got so many good non-water rides. But yeah, I spent Saturday at Thorpe Park, and it was Fright Nights. So all of the like attendants and stuff were had like dressed in like horror outfits, and there was like horror clowns and stuff with like the contacts so they stare at you creepily. And they had like blood and gashes all over them, and there was like an effects artist there who was like doing like blood and gashes on visitors. It was so cool. Like,
did you get blood and gashes?
I didn't. I was with a whole group of people, and I was just like following them around. But it was a friend's party. But yeah, the effects artists are like way too cool. I was just like, oh my god, the stuff that they can do. Like the first one that I saw, like the first blood and gore makeup set that I saw there, genuinely made me afraid. I like turned around, and there's a guy with like a zip down half of his face and just like blood pouring out from it. And I was like, oh my god, you're terrifying.
It was very effective.
God damn.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize I just did the pun. Oh.
Wait, you didn't even mean that?
No, I didn't mean, I swear to God. Oh, I wish I did that on purpose. You would have at least, if I did that on purpose, you would have at least heard a pause where I winked, and then a sigh after when I realized no one could see the wink.
I would have heard your wink.
You would have. The Mud Man's already going to sleep? What?
I think he's listening to the show. I think he might not be feeling too well or something.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, the Mud Man.
Sending all of our loves. But I think he's listening to the show whilst we chat away and talk about rubbish.
Nice. Well, we talk about art and how I'm apparently creepy and I didn't know it. I learned that about myself. I had no idea. I'm a creeper. I just lurk around in the shadows, rubbing my hands together, right? Like I always put my, I always kind of lean my chin down and then look through my eyebrows at people, like that's, and then, and when I like shake someone's hand, like I only let them like grab my fingers, so it's all like weird.
Oh dear.
I had no idea.
I did like a load of ripples on this lake and then realized that it didn't make any sense in the way that they were moving. I was like, no, so I've had to redo it again.
Oh God. That's a bummer. But at least you caught it early.
Yeah.
It would have been worse if you caught that like 4.5 hours from now.
I wouldn't care. Be like, this going to print. I don't care.
That's true. But by a certain point, you're just like, it's on the lower half of the banner. You know, like I'll probably be like sitting in front of that part.
Well, I've actually genuinely had to think about that. Like 1/3 of this banner won't be visible, so I've had to design the entire design around that fact. So everything interesting has to be at the top of the banner, and then the bottom of the banner is just like lines. But all of the characters I've had to fit like at the very top, which has been awkward. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
Gonna make some art. This is so gonna look like this is gonna be another painting I'm gonna have in my studio, and people are gonna be like, "Is that a self-portrait?" Because I already get that with the I May Be Dead one. Now this one's gonna look like a self-portrait too.
Do you actually like doing self-portraits? We've been asked to do self-portraits.
I haven't done a self-portrait in ages, to be honest. I have a kind of a weird face to draw. It's kind of hard to draw because it kind of, like, my face is very, like, my profile doesn't match what the front of my face seems to look like. Like, there's a weird shape to it where it kind of sinks back towards my forehead and eyes in a way that, like, you wouldn't notice till I'm in a profile. But if you're trying to draw it straight on, like, you'll just keep looking like, why can't it just doesn't look right, but why, you know? And so it's hard. Like, I have a lot of trouble drawing my self-portrait. But I, you know, at the same time, I think it's just part of that thing where it's also just hard to draw people, you know. Like, it's hard to draw, for me, it's hard to draw friends and family because I'll notice immediately if something's off and it will just distract the hell out of me.
Mm.
So I've struggled. I've only done like one self-portrait that I really thought looked like me. And then every other time I'm always kind of like, it's kind of me. But like, if I had that drawing and a friend saw it somewhere and they didn't know it was me, like, would they only know it's me because it's like a portrait of a bald guy? You know what I mean? Like, or would they know it's me from my facial features? Like at times if I'm drawing a friend, it's like, does that really look like them, or do they just have the same haircut and jacket, you know?
Someone was actually asking on the Ice Lounge, like, subreddit, what people do to, like, capture likenesses.
It's all about relations and proportions.
Mm.
I didn't have a chance to actually respond to that because I remember when they wrote it, and that's what I would have been kind of saying, to try to focus less on just those standard proportions of a head and focus more on that person's proportions. Like, focus more on getting the shapes and the relations of the shapes together. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what did it for me, is when I kind of focused less on the eye should be this high on the head and the nose should be here, and just was focus on, okay, here's what this eye looks like. Now, how far away is this eye from that eye? And then go like that. And even then, it's still really hard, you know? Lots of times I'll look at stuff and I'll be like, does it really look like the person, or does it just look like them because I know it's a picture of them, you know?
Yeah. I find that I get asked a lot at conventions that question, because I draw, like, in some senses it's detailed, and in other senses it's super, like, simplified, the art that I do at the show. And they asked me, like, how can you make manga look like every person that you draw? And it's kind of like, the things that I focus on when I'm drawing someone is the outside silhouette of the head. So the shape of the hair, the shape of the ears, and then the jawline, essentially. Those tend to be the main focuses. And then also the shape of the eyes, because in manga I'm super simplifying the nose and the mouth. Like, I'll try and, like, if they're wearing lipstick, I'll try and add that in, or if they've got a particularly long nose or particularly button nose, then I'll try and get that in. But with manga, it's just like a point and a line, so you can't get a lot in there. But I try to focus on, like, exactly how the eyes look and try and match that perfectly. Like, I'll leave some of the gaps to make it more manga-esque, so it kind of does like that. But I'll try and get it as close as possible to what they actually look like. And I find that if I get those two things right, then people will spot it and be like, oh, that's so and so. even if it still looks fairly generic, they'll know who it is.
I just try to make sure they're wearing the same hat. No, I'm just kidding. And even then, even with you saying pretty much like that system and process, anytime I've tried to do a cartoon version of someone, it goes horribly.
I think the thing is, it's something you have to practice, really. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, if you do a cartoon version, it's way simpler, but it's not.
No, it isn't.
Whatever you do the most is the simplest for you.
That's true.
And I find that if you are going to do like a simplified cartoony and whatever form of cartoony, from manga to Nickelodeon, whatever it is, it is something that you have to practice, and it is something that like you have to know the rules for. And then, because a lot of it's very, I don't know how to describe it, kind of like they all bounce off of each other, all the different styles in that kind of world, like big eyes, little mouths, those kinds of things. And it's knowing what the rules are and then knowing when to bend them. So you might go, actually, this person's face, they have a really big mouth, let's say, right? So then you have to try and think, okay, so how can I demonstrate that in this particular manga style that I'm going to go for? And then you look at things like Naruto, for example, which has like a lot of them have very wide elasticated cheeks that kind of like pull and stretch all over the place to make big toothy like grins and stuff like that. So then you know how to like bend those rules.
For whatever the particular style of the thing you're doing is.
Exactly.
Even then, still, like even then, I don't know. It's just really hard to get it to work right. I don't know. I guess one day I'll just try it again and see how I do. Try to see what features they have and see how far I can. So I'm always really impressed with caricature artists as well, how they can like push a feature so far. Like I think of even like, you know, if you watch like Ren and Stimpy and see John Kricfalusi stuff, like how extreme he can push those characters' faces and it will still look like the character.
Yeah.
Really bizarre. Peter Bagge is really good at that in his comics as well.
I used to hate characterized when I was a kid. I just like hated the style.
Oh, that was like my favorite.
Now I'm just like, oh my god, it's so good. Like it's not necessarily that I particularly like it in the way that I would hang it on my wall, but it's more of a like, you are so technically skilled.
I don't even understand how you could hate them as a kid. That's so weird. Kids usually like it the most.
No, not caricature. Like maybe like stretchy cartoons like Ren and Stimpy or something, but even then, like those kinds of cartoons I wasn't that into. I tended to like very I don't know how to describe it. It gets described as like appeal art, where it's very friendly, it's very soft and elegant. I think that's why I got into manga, because it's a lot of like flowy lines. I really like things like the art from Chobits or Vampire Knight, that kind of art, where it was very flowy and lots of little lines, big eyes, that kind of thing. I liked soft characters, if that makes sense, which is very much not what character art looks like to me.
No. Man, it's still weird.
Your face is weird.
I know. Apparently it was. I learned this weekend.
Dude, right? Okay, so this week.
Yeah.
Same Dog says, my best friend is a character artist at SeaWorld and I'm in awe of her talent constantly. Yeah, character artists are incredibly skilled.
Yeah.
Random story. So this week I ordered 2,000 of something. That's too much.
You had to order 2,000 of something.
Too much. Dude, no one needs 2,000 of anything.
Was it spaghetti?
No, it was business cards. They're arriving tomorrow, and I don't know when. and I'm supposed to get a message first thing in the morning, and I don't know what first thing is. I don't know if first thing is like 6 a.m. or if first thing is like 9 a.m. But yeah, I'm supposed to get a message that will then tell me the hour slot that they will arrive in, and then I have to be there to tick it off. So I might not go to bed after this show.
I would say just put your phone by your head, but it probably won't work.
My phone doesn't work. It's literally
that's right, you're already broken.
It's literally a glorified paperweight right now. They're gonna send me a new phone on Wednesday. So like all of this has happened right before MCM, and I'm so upset.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've got 2,000 business cards. That's a lot of business cards. So if anyone wants a business card, I've got a lot.
I think I have one of your business cards.
You do, but these are a new design. Oh.
So when I buy your third book, then I can get the new business card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to make it first.
That's true. I'll just buy it now. You can just send it blank. I'll just fill it in myself. I'll just figure out the rest of the story.
A 200-page blank book.
Yeah. I remember there was a book. It was like just like a dumb gag book that was at the bookstore I worked at, and the book was Sex After 40, and then you open the book and all the pages are empty.
Oh,
but I remember just thinking, it's just like, ha. But I still can't believe that you guys actually went through the cost of binding a bunch of blank paper and putting this in a bookstore.
On the flip side, someone made money from selling a blank book.
I know someone made money coming up with that idea. It's like that book probably had an author.
I know, right?
Because they wrote the title.
It's kind of upsetting.
I know, right? You have all these people out there like trying to make a book, and then that one takes off, becomes a bestseller, and you're just like, oh my Jesus, why do I even try?
What is even the point?
What is even the point, right? This is really all people want. Oh, the good old bookstore days. I miss working in a bookstore sometimes. I don't know. It was okay. That bookstore was fun because I got to hire like all my friends. Because like we were really cool with the boss. Because my older brother had worked there before me, so he knew her, and then I worked there and she liked me, and so we were both, we both take care of things. We're good employees, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once, you get to know us, you realize we're like responsible goofballs. So it's like fun to work. It's fun to work with us. We're a goofball, but we also get shit done. And so eventually she's just like, it was the holiday season coming up. And I think by that point, we also knew that it was owned by Barnes & Noble, and they were going to close all these smaller chains and then incorporate into the bigger Barnes & Noble. So she was just like, she's like, well, we need people for the holidays, but then after, clearly, it's not going to be around. Do you have any friends that need jobs? And I was like, actually, yes. And I had like a few friends that needed work, and then my brother was like looking for some extra hours. So then the whole staff was like pretty much just like me, my friends, and my brother. And that was probably the most fun a job's ever been for that like 4 months. And then we were the ones that got to like tear the stores apart after. So there was kind of that exhilaration that you work somewhere at your day job, and then when it was all said and done, you get to rip the store apart and like just smash things. It was great. I kind of wish every job worked like that. It's like, okay, you're done working here. Now you got to rip the office apart.
Imagine if you did that. I was going to say, imagine if you did that with your art, and then I realized that sometimes you do.
Yeah, imagine.
Right, halfway through that story, I got absolutely terrified because there was a massive bang right next to me outside the window. Mm-hmm. And then my cat's head like poked up. And I was like, oh my God, what did you do?
Which cat?
Jasper.
Oh, Jasper.
And now he's just sat on the window ledge looking in at me like, let me in. It's cold.
You're like, you're just gonna barf and poo everywhere, Jasper.
I know. Stay outside.
You're weird now.
There was no mess to clean up before this podcast because I kept all of the cats outside for the whole day.
I thought they were acting more responsibly, but I guess that's not the case.
No.
You just didn't let them have a chance.
Exactly. I've got something cool for this week. I've got fellow artist and fellow Comic-Con exhibitor, Sam Webster, will be chilling at my house for the weekend from Thursday. And we shall be going to Comic-Con together, which will be pretty cool.
Nice.
It's going to be weird, like, coming home and then having a fellow comic seller there.
Yeah.
Being like,
yo, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? I think I made my stool too high, but I kind of like the angle, so I have to figure out what to do with my legs. They're like, whatever. All right, I'll manage.
I decided that rather than sitting at my desk today, I couldn't be bothered to get out of bed. So I just sat in bed cross-legged all day working on this. Mm-hmm. And then I tried to get up and my knees were like, no.
Yeah, then you stand up and then there's no like strength. There's no circulation in anywhere in your legs, so you just fall over.
Yeah.
Extreme pins and needles. Cats just staring at you weird.
From through the window
through the window. Cold. Do they come in at all, or are they just stay outside now?
No, they do. It's just today I couldn't be bothered with them today. I have fed them, don't worry.
You what?
I have fed them.
Oh, okay, good.
They've had all their foods, they've had little cuddles, but I've got too much to do. It's MCM week.
But you gotta draw the line somewhere with them, right?
Indeed.
You're like, no, all right, guys, listen. MCM week, you're gonna understand. Cats will be like, we never understand. We're cats. Unless it's blinking slowly or eating, that's really all we understand.
Yeah.
Or putting our arm in a shoebox.
Or attacking me. I'm laying in bed and they're just like attacking my toes. I'm like, please go away.
They attack your feet when you're trying to sleep.
Oh my god, one of them, Cosmo, oh my god, he loves toes, but he likes things that poke out of other things. So if you're curled up in bed and you poke your foot out of the bed even a tiny bit, he will eat it. He will pounce on you with all his claws out and just destroy it.
Oh, that sounds horrific.
It is, it's horrendous.
That sounds really painful.
It genuinely is.
Isn't it like super dangerous when a cat like bites you because it can get infected really easily?
Right? I don't know. I should probably be dead if that's true.
I saw like an article about it and a thing, and like the person like had to go to the hospital and it actually got really serious because the infection got so bad.
I don't know. I know they can give you like a weird brain disease called toxoplasmosis.
That's right. And it pretty much explains why shut-ins with cats act the way they do.
When I have my own place, I'm not going to have cats.
So, you're not going to have it? No cats, no dogs, no animals?
I might have a dog. Because the thing is, like, you can train cats, but with great difficulty, and one day they will decide that they no longer care.
Huh.
A dog, then I can be like, no, don't eat all of my food, and it won't.
See, that's crazy to me because usually, like, what people with cats are, like, just total cat people, and then they always seem to be hesitant. Or they always seem to like dogs okay, but always prefer cats, whereas you seem to be the opposite.
Well, when I was a kid, like, I do like cats. It's just they're a lot of work now. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm the one looking after them, they're a lot of work. I think that's the difference. Is like when I was a kid, it was this adorable, fluffy little animal that I could then snuggle and be like, oh my god, it purrs when I hug it. And it was amazing. Yeah. And now it's just like, Why do you spend your entire day? I do live at home and work at home as well.
Yeah.
So I am around 3 cats constantly.
So you have to put up with their habits.
I have to put up with them all day. It's like, go away. I need time away from you.
It's not cute anymore.
I get it. You like the string. Don't eat it.
Cat's like, hey, check it out. I'm going to stand on your desk, and then I'm just going to stand with my butthole right at your face. Like, why do you do that?
He's just looking at me. He's like, let me in.
He's still staring through the window?
Yeah. And he's making like a weird squeaky noise at me.
Oh, I can hear him.
Just like squeaking, squeaky squeak.
Oh, Jasper. You goofball. Oh, I forgot to pre-mix a palette, so I'm trying to do that now.
Ooh, Drawing by Anon says, I'm thinking about doing a reverse post this Friday for caricatures. I'm not a professional, I just want to practice. Reverse post? What do you mean by that?
Is that those posts when people are saying, like, hey, any of the first people that submit this, I'll draw them or whatever? Like, I was seeing some of those pop up. That seems like a whole new kind of dynamic they're doing in there. Which was interesting. Oh, what do I do with my legs? Maybe that'll work. I really should have put some fresh paint on my palette last night for the podcast. Oh, boy. All right. Is your cat still making noises? I think I hear him.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a shame that you just can't go through the computer because, like, Jasper could totally hang out in my room if he wanted.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't think that'd be a good idea.
Jasper's terrified of everything, though.
Yeah. And my room is like where all my expensive things are, so that'd probably be a bad idea.
Yeah.
You can't let cats near expensive things.
Indeed. Okay, how's that going? Not that one. I think we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh
There
my
we
God,
go.
that sound.
Sorry. Don't worry about it. No big deal. Yeah, what Sleepy Time Vanilla just did with the pet photos. Yeah, that's bizarre. Is that like a thing they announced somewhere, or is that just like I didn't even see that become a thing? I must have been out of the loop. We're doing like the Switch stance post where you just like, hey, I'll draw this if anyone submits it. And people start submitting stuff.
And is that on Reddit Gets Drawn?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I'll be interested to see like how it kind of works within the system though.
It's kind of like I Can Draw That meets Reddit Gets Drawn.
Yeah, it really is. It has a specific artist. I wouldn't be able to do one of those threads because it'll be like, I will draw one of your random pictures because it will take me too long to do any more than that. And everyone will be like, well, that took the fun right out of it. If anyone submits a photo I like, I will draw it. Otherwise, I probably won't draw it.
Oh, by the way, if you are new and you don't know where to post your artwork, you currently can't post in the chat as far as I'm aware, because YouTube, but you can post in reddit.com/r/artist lounge. You will find a thread that's got basically the same name as this podcast or this podcast date and name in it. And you can post your artwork there. You can work on what Mike is working on, or you can work on any other Reddit Gets Drawn or anything that you want, and post it in there. Just let me know in the chat that you've put it there, and then I'll show it on screen.
You can also just draw Sarah's banner as well. Just draw the same thing.
If you know all the characters, sure.
Yeah. Actually, that'd be kind of interesting. I joke, but I'm a little curious what the results would be. Have a Sarah fan art appreciation day, and then we all do our interpretations of your characters.
I'd love that, but not enough people have run the book.
I would just end up. I mean, you know what mine would look like. I would just take all the fantastical and interesting elements out and just draw like very bland characters. You'd be like, that just looks like a person standing next to a horse, Mike. You're like, yeah, pretty much what I do. Are you making a bridge right now?
I am. Do you want to see it? There you go. Flip. There we go. That's it so far. Get in there. Eee, wrong button.
It was mentioned in the latest State of the Sub post. What? Did I miss a State of the Sub post? God, what is going on? Am I just out of the loop completely?
I mean, it kind of sounds like it.
Oh my lord. I feel like I'm having more trouble just juggling my normal everyday schedule, just in general. It's really weird. I don't feel like I've added much to my life, but for some reason, it's like harder to manage. I don't know. Maybe I'm spending a little more. I mean, I guess Are
you tired?
That too. But I think I was in a pretty good habit with drawing and painting. I think my drawings and paintings got a little more intensive, like with the ink and then the oil painting now. Like maybe that's taking more of a toll on me that I realize. And sometimes even if it's a small change, you'll find that like the hours just slip away and you're kind of like, why is it so late, or why are things not getting done? You realize, I forgot I added this thing to the schedule. It didn't seem like it'd be that big, but it actually was.
Okay, we've got art to share, so I'm just going to save. First save. Where is it?
Let's use this palette that I got right here and see how that goes.
By the way, if anyone wants critique like we did a couple weeks ago, just leave a message saying that you want critique on your piece.
Mm-hmm.
And we shall do that.
Critiquing your art, saying stuff about it. We're gonna critique your art, and then we're gonna judge you. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna make you feel self-conscious about the things you love. I get in the zone with the oil paint. I kind of just forget for a second. I'm like, oh yeah, forgot to mention stuff.
I'm just setting up a thing so I can share artwork. It's just my thing's saving at the moment.
Was it 570 megs image file?
Yeah, 500. Top half painted.
Oh, it was getting glitchy there for a second. That was scary. If we lose you, the whole podcast goes down.
The glitchiness, that's my fault.
As long as you take responsibility.
It's because it's Mag Studios exporting it as a Photoshop file.
Oh, Manga Studio can do that?
Yeah, it can export it as a Photoshop file, which means that you can work on a Photoshop file in Manga Studio without having to keep switching them between file types.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's really helpful.
Those are all really stupid lines I just painted. Let's go ahead and get rid of everything that I just did.
Okay, so this piece is by Passion for Drawing. Just check that that's right. Yeah, Passion for Drawing. Here we go.
Oh,
what do you think of that?
That's adorable.
So boss.
Oh, they're gonna be so stoked when they see that.
Yeah.
I know I would
so
be.
Boss. I love this guy.
I like the little the designs on the shoulders. It's like a it's like a Warhammer vibe, right?
Yeah. like
Warhammer 40K. Yeah, 40K, totally 40K.
Yeah. So cool. Hopefully people are seeing this. Yeah, there we go. People are seeing it now. It's so good.
Was that was just in an RGD? I didn't see that one.
I think so. They link direct to the photo though, so. Yeah, everyone's like, oh my god. Yeah, I love that. That's so cool. Their little faces are great.
Dogs always have the best expressions. I like anytime like a dog is costumed, they always kind of get this look of like half confusion and half disappointment on their face. And every now and then you'll get the dog that looks like they're enjoying it, but it almost makes it just so much funnier when they're just kind of like, oh, I don't know about this. Like they actually look like an embarrassed kid, like a kid that had to like was forced to wear a certain like a costume they didn't want to wear.
There we go. No.
It's scary when you start dealing with file sizes that large because you never know if it's all going to come crashing down.
I know, right?
Computer might just be like, nah, not this time.
Yeah, if it gets too glitchy, let me know in chat and I'll go over to Ready Get Straw. It's fine.
That's been good so far. I think it'll be all right.
I think it's just when I save, it gets a bit upset.
Because it's not used to you saving your progress, because usually you don't do that during the podcast. Usually at the very end, and you're like, oh, I haven't saved yet. Jesus.
It's true.
Because you know that freaks me out more than anything else.
I've got like 5 billion layers. Should not have this many layers.
I don't know what I'm doing. I can't even imagine that this is going to work, but let's see.
I really like all the colors that you've got in your piece at the moment. It's so cool.
I hope they look good. I'm never quite sure what everyone else has seen.
It's very fiery.
Yeah, I went pretty nuts with that red there. I've been enjoying doing the red, kind of laying things in with red first. You know what? I'm going to do that blur thing I do. Because this is just too much paint too fast. I think it's screwing it up.
Who's your favorite artist?
Just in general?
Yeah, do you have one?
No, I don't think I could choose. I have artists that I really like. I always really like Gerhard Richter and Lucian Freud and Franz Hals and Caravaggio. And even though admittedly that guy seemed like a real asshole, but whatever. Well, with him like murdering people.
God, what?
Yeah, I think he killed somebody like over a dispute in some type of sport or game or something.
Oh my God.
Guy was a real demon. But his art was good, so it's fine. I don't know. I was just looking at a lot of kind of classical stuff. Bruegel's cool.
Did you ever do like art history? I guess you must have.
Yeah. Good old art history. That's where I was learning about all those goofballs. They prefer to be called goofballs.
Would you recommend
Genset, good landscape painter, huh?
Would you recommend that someone should study art history?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, if they want, you know. I mean, I don't. It's definitely not going to hurt, you know. I mean, the thing that's going to make your art better more than anything is just making art and practicing. I think sometimes it's easy to get like bogged down in the idea that you need to just keep studying, and then you end up studying so much you don't make anything. Like I tend to do that. I tend to make that mistake a lot. But it doesn't really hurt in spare time to gain the knowledge and especially develop that appreciation for older stuff. just because, I don't know, it's withstood the test of time. A lot of art now, and especially like, and you look at a lot of contemporary work, it's really what you're seeing is a lot of people trying to claim that the thing you're looking at is the big important thing, and nobody knows, you know, and so it's hard to get kind of like a good, honest look at the art out there, and that's why sometimes it's nice to just kind of stick it with some of the old stuff and study that, because I hate this painting. Yeah, it's not going well. I don't like this brush. It's too stiff. It's not laying the lay. Here we go. This one will work better. This one's too stiff. It's ruining everything. I might throw it away. I got distracted because I started hating the painting.
Oh dear. I like the old masters in terms of, I think they look technically great.
Mm-hmm.
Certain ones, like, I probably don't know all their names. Yeah. But I'll be like, oh yeah, no, that looks really good. But I don't ever look at one and go, I'd like that on my wall. They don't ever like interest me, if that makes sense. And I don't.
No, I get what you're saying. I would. Oh, there's some I would love to have on my wall. Some of those paintings are so awesome. I'd take a Caravaggio or a Goya on my wall. That'd be sweet. Or a Velasquez. I'd take Raft of the Medusa. If I had a wall big enough, I'd love to have Raft of the Medusa on my wall. The painting's awesome. But it's, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird how if you were to try to do something in more of a traditional sense that you see there, it feels like super weird and like kind of almost cheesy to try to paint like that now. Like people will look at you like you're not like breaking new ground, you know, like you're bland if you just paint kind of traditionally, which is always annoyed the hell out of me. I kind of feel like the gallery world owes us a big apology for that, for like forcing people to think that that's how art needs to be now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, it doesn't have to be that. I don't know. I found a lot of contemporary art I just got really bored with it, and I just stopped looking at it. And I found that I was actually happier when I stopped looking at it and pretty much just turned my cheek to that part of the art world, because it was like just bumming me out for a while. And then once I kind of removed a lot of contemporary art out of my life, I got much happier again, and I was enjoying art. But it was hard. It was getting hard to justify it. Like, I think for a while I could say, oh, this art's like this, and I was like, I had to like put a lot of work defending it. You know what I mean? I got tired of having to defend it. And it's just like, you know what, if I have to like try to defend this much, like what does that actually say about the art? Like if it's really not speaking to anybody and I have to keep, and then over time I start realizing like the stuff I'm saying to defend it's like, well, you know what, this might actually be bullshit. Like I could totally be wrong. And I just realized like, you know, a lot of it was kind of bullshitty. And it was just like, you know, I was saying all these things, and then when I really look close at the painting, I'm like, well, actually it's not. Like I'd argue, oh, well, they're the sense of color theory in this is what really makes it, and blah, blah, blah. And I would give all these excuses. And one time I just kind of looked at it and I'm like, you know what? I don't actually think it is doing those things. I think I just was talking out of my ass because I was always told to say that, you know? And then I looked at it and I'm like, wait a minute. No, it's not doing that. It's not like this piece doesn't have a good composition. This piece actually just isn't interesting. And no, I was not thinking these things when I was looking at it. I was not really thinking about anything. I was just told that I was supposed to be. I've been putting in a lot of work lately, like trying to unlearn a lot of things that the art world was teaching me, because I was learning that it just wasn't true, that it was bias. And so I had to like kind of like it was like I was brainwashed, you know? I don't know. Do you ever feel that way, that like you just like the whole, like one day you're like, wait a minute, like I don't buy this at all anymore. Like I feel like I should appreciate it more, and I've actually grown to appreciate it less.
That was actually how I felt about like the old masters kind of art. It was like, do I only like this because people tell me that I should like it? It was that kind of thing.
That's interesting. I had that with the contemporary stuff.
But like, I don't really look at any modern stuff in a gallery really, unless it's like something really interesting to me. Like most of it I really don't care about. I tend to look for more, I don't know, I'm very classic internet person. I look at a lot of stuff on like DeviantArt and stuff like that. A lot of like digital art tends to be the stuff that I find the most interesting at the moment. I do love traditional art, but digital art, maybe it's because I'm trying to get better at it. I tend to find it very visually impressive. I don't know.
Well, I think because you found a spot in that, because I think I was getting inspired by just the art in the community I was seeing around Reddit more so than the fine art, the quote unquote fine art world, you know, because I think it felt like a lot of it was coming from a more real place. It was less about trying to like fit some persona or something that might not necessarily have been, you know, genuine. Like it was all like, it all felt like I was just kind of watching things be marketed to me in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I don't.
All I really care about when I'm looking at a picture is that it tells me an interesting story. And like that I don't have to be like, oh, well, the artist did blah, blah, blah. Like I want to be able to look at the image and it tells me an interesting story. And if it does, then that's the kind of thing that I'll put up on my wall.
For me, I just hit a point where I just wanted to see a good painting. Like, it wasn't even about like the concept or much of anything. I mean, I felt like there was a concept that I like, and it was in the idea of, can you take something that's very straightforward and seems simple, and then make me not be able to look away from it? Like, can you hold my attention? And a lot of art wasn't. And it's all their fault. Jose's jumping in now.
Okay, awesome.
Our guest.
Hello.
How's it going?
Hey.
Welcome.
Hey.
You guys can hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
we can.
Cool.
And we see your icon right now.
Where's my face?
It might take a little minute to load, I think. Yeah, I think it's loading now.
All right.
Are you doing the custom banner? Because it might just be like one image for your whole screen.
Let me turn it off. It's off.
Something's gonna happen, I think. I see a black screen.
It's not my face.
If we believe, then it will appear.
We all just pray a little pray.
If you clap your hands.
I believe in fairies. I believe in fairies.
Oh man, it was just working when we were doing this before.
I know.
Did you ever have to change any settings or anything on the little cogs and select the webcam or anything?
No, just trouble finds me. All right.
Heavens.
Hold on, I think I can fix this. All right, let's see. Just plug in good. Like everything seems to be working.
Well, worst comes to worst, we could always do a disconnect and then reconnect and then see if it...
Yeah.
Because we had it working before, and so all the settings seem like they should be in order.
It's just my luck, that's all.
Sarah, did you borrow Jermaine's computer earlier by any chance?
Yeah.
Was I in the vague vicinity of it, and now it's dead?
Yeah, and now it's not working. You're like, hey, can I write a quick email? And now the computer doesn't work.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
You could try dropping out and dropping back in. I'm wondering about that.
I'll do that. All right now.
Yeah.
If you have your webcam as like a separate thing, maybe try turning it off and then back on again as well, just to or unplugging it. Sometimes unplugging it helps.
All right, I will do that right now.
Okay.
All right, cool.
I already have questions from Facebook, from my Facebook for Jermaine, but if anyone has any other questions that you'd like to ask, leave them in the chat, and then I'll try and get through all of them.
I should really start using Facebook, shouldn't I?
My face? Is my face?
There you go.
Hey!
Awesome.
Hey!
Hello, everyone.
You alright?
Welcome.
Welcome
you got-
to my place.
Did you draw that shirt?
No, I wish I drew the shirt. It's awesome. This guy, Kyle Crawford, did it, and he's got this awesome store called Electric Zombie, and he makes awesome turtle shirts every now and then.
Nice.
Let me put the camera in places where I stare, so it's not like
There you
I'm
go.
looking off screen.
So you're looking at the camera.
There you go. Yeah.
There we are.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this is my humble abode.
Well, got a sweet bike.
Thank
So-
you. I literally just used it today. This was my first time using the bike.
Really?
Yeah, I've had it for like 2 years. It was like gathering rust on my porch or my balcony. Decided to use it.
Just had a moment of inspiration. You're like, here it is. It's a bike day today. I can feel it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Sun's shining.
I did have to take it to the shop and all that. No, actually, it rained today. So.
Oh.
Aw.
What? You guys got rain?
It's rain.
Congratulations.
Yeah, just tiny bit.
Just
Tiny
a
bit of
teaser,
rain.
right? We'll have our El Nino. We'll be back.
Mhm.
Everything's going to be fine. It'll rain in California. We'll have water.
Yeah.
Technically, LA shouldn't have water. You guys are in the desert.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember that about LA sometimes.
Yeah.
But
I
you're just
remember
like,
once.
you guys are like, hey, Nevada, dibs.
Yeah. Basically. So what's going on? What are we doing here?
We're drawing. I'm drawing Jastiut, and Sarah is drawing a banner because she has the MCM convention coming up soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you have experience in conventions yourself.
I do. Just a little bit.
Which ones have you done?
I think the most recent one I did was WonderCon in
Nice.
it was Anaheim or LA. I don't remember. They all blur now. But yeah, that was I think spring-ish. I want to say or some early summer. But that was fun. I did it with a couple friends who I work with. Jeff, who's a painter, he's with me at Turtles, and then James Land, who's working at who used to work at Cartoon Network and is now working on Hush Hush projects right now. I don't know if I can say anything, but
They're in development, so you can't. There's no official announcements for them yet.
yep, cool
Nice.
stuff. Yeah. Before that, I think we did CTN, which is an animation convention here in Burbank.
Nice.
And yeah, we did that a couple of years, and that was my first one. I think we did that in 2012, and we've been doing it every year since then. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool, pretty expensive, pretty cool.
You have good
Very
experiences
cool.
with the conventions overall, then?
Yeah, conventions have been pretty fun. I mean, the first one's always kind of nerve-wracking. We learned the hard way that at conventions you really have to like cater your work and your prices of your work that you're selling to your audience that's there.
Oh.
So we ended up going way too high to poor college students. You know.
Whoops.
So-
You win prices ablazing.
yeah, it's like you're not worth that much. I'm sorry, but it was cool. It was a good learning experience, and then every year after that, you get slightly jaded and lower your prices a little just to make a buck or two. It worked out. It was cool.
They actually, I know they definitely do it for the MCM shows. I'm not sure about other ones, but the MCM shows have on their website like a statistics for the different like age groups, gender groups, all of that kind of thing that are going to be there. And they'll say these are all of our shows around the country, and these are the different like groups. So you'll be like, okay, if my stuff caters more to men, I want to go to the London one because there's more men at that one, whereas there might not be at the Birmingham show, for instance. So it's
Right.
actually like really helpful.
Yeah, that would have helped if we did some sort of research.
Yes.
No, maybe.
Sarah's very organized.
Yeah.
I do a lot of Googling. I think the most interesting thing to me is how the age ranges change over the years of how long a convention's been out for. So, when a convention first starts up, the age range tends to be like a big show, like a quote Comic-Con. The age range tends to be starting about age 14. And then up to about 19, and you do have groups outside of that, but that's the majority. That's the mass of people that are around you.
Right,
and then every year after that, the age goes slightly up as they increase the price to get into the show. And then you realize that at MCM London, it was I then realized that the age had gone all the way up to I don't know, I guess 25 of being the average, and then obviously a little bit up and a little bit down. And I was just it used to be literally just 13-year-olds everywhere when I first started here, and now everyone's 25. What's going on?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that makes sense. When I went to Comic-Con for the first time a couple years ago. And that was a crazy sight to see all these adults, old men, really into comics and games and TV, and just whoa! I thought this was just for kids, but apparently not.
It's really funny when you see that someone's there and they don't know anything about what's going on, and they're just you'll see a businessman walking around because he's trying to look for people to hire or whatever, and it's just you don't know what world you fall into right now, do you?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
I have a feeling I'd be that guy at a comic convention.
Yeah.
I'd look around, I think I'd be is it okay if I laugh? Because this is insane and I really want to laugh, but I don't want to offend anyone. Do they want me to laugh? Because that guy's wearing the most ridiculous costume ever, and it's kind of blowing my mind. And I really want to laugh. And then I just wait for someone else to laugh and get excited first, and then I join it.
The cosplays are amazing. They are freaking amazing.
It looks fun and good fun silliness, and just insanity. Mad props.
Definitely insanity. Do you have a silly moment or a best story or something from a convention, a random convention tale?
Random convention tale. Not a very specific moment, but there were some very interesting people that I ran into. Not just just artists that looking for advice, but not really looking for advice. You know what I mean? They come up to you, they show you your stuff, you're oh yeah, this is what I did with this, and it was really awesome, and I made it up myself. And when you see it, you're you don't want to be too honest, but the first time doing that stuff was really awkward because you do it in class or whatever, you do it with your coworkers, but doing it to a complete stranger that it was just really awkward. They weren't looking for real criticism, they were just looking to show off their stuff, and it was weird. But then there was this one moment where my buddy did point out a guy in cosplay, but he didn't realize that it was actually an actor, but I did. It was, I think it was one of the guys from Supernatural, that show, and he was cosplaying as one of the guys. Was it Carl from Up, Pixar's Up? And he called him out. I was isn't that the guy? Because I think he said his name was Kevin, and his name was Kevin in real life. That's the actor's name. And I don't think he realized what it was. He's "Are you looking for Kevin? That bird?"
Yeah.
Dude, that guy. That's his name. That's his name. His name's Kevin.
That's the dude.
Yeah, that's the dude. But no interesting stories. It's pretty I don't know, you just kind of sit there, you know, you never really run into anybody unless they come to you. Like, I don't know, I've had any crazy things happen yet. I'm just like sitting in the back trying to sell stuff. And
I always like bouncing around like a nutter. I've found that if I sit down, no one will walk over, but if I'm bouncing around insane, they'll be like, "Oh, hey, you look good to you."
I have noticed though, if you try to be friendly, like you'll have guys that'll walk up and kind of look at your stuff, and then you say hi, and they're like, "Okay." And just leave. Like, what? I'm just trying to be friendly.
And you're like, I had one woman. Oh my god, this woman like looked over at me, and I said, and she was just like looking at all of my stuff. So I was like, oh, she must be interested. So I then handed out a business card and said, do you want a business card? And she went, no. It's free. And she's like, no, and went away. I was like,
why would they say no? Just take the card. It's like, oh, God, no, never. Not that at all.
Why would I ever want that, you crazy person?
After the last First Friday in Oakland, I was walking back through the studio, because my studio is all the way in the back. And I walk up, I see like at least 3 of my business cards just on the ground. It's like, why did you take one at all? Just don't take it. Like, I didn't even hand it to anybody. You literally took it, and then you went, oh, fuck this guy, and then threw it on the ground.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Take it next time.
I had that with flyers. I had to then realize that, like, don't hand flyers to every single person that walks past.
Yeah,
like, pay attention to how they look at the stool and then base it off that.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I'll start drawing something.
Yeah, you can draw whatever you want. You got something you want to work on, or you can draw Jastiute, who's actually in the chat hanging out with us.
Oh, cool. Why not? I'll do that real quick. Whatever real quick is, like sketches last for like hours.
Yeah. Animaniac asks, where do you think you made your most valuable contacts to get into the industry? And what is their cell phone? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It was probably at Nickelodeon, unfortunately. It was during my internship, and I met a lot of really cool people there, like obviously the artists that are there. But the guy that actually got me my job, I met him during the internship, and he was just friends. He was friends with one of the interns who was shacking up with them temporarily throughout the internship, and we just went out and hung out at a bar, and then we all just became friends for a little bit, and you know, we just start talking about what we want to do and like the jobs that we want eventually, because he started out as he's straight from college, straight up into being a painter, and you know, just being an intern, you're just like, whoa, that's so cool. You're an artist, you know, and we're just like, oh wow, yeah, what do you do? What's your daily thing? You know, so it was really cool just because he was, you know, he was in that spot of being new as well, you know, so he hung out with us, so that was really cool. And then you know, we just being friends, you start talking, and then opportunities show up, and I had the opportunity to do some freelance work, or at least try out to do freelance work. So I did some tests here and there, and I worked like crazy to get a portfolio down because I did not have one. So I made one, and it was good enough to warrant doing some things, or like do a test for some things, and then it worked out. So I eventually got hired a few months later. It was crazy. But
was that first internship through school, or?
No, I had just graduated from the Art Institute of Seattle, and my career supervisor or advisor, he sent out like an email blast saying that Nickelodeon was coming to the school, and if anybody wanted to come by and check it out, you know, they should. So I had a month, I think, or 2 weeks notice of that, and I decided to whip up a portfolio real quick of anything, because this was like post post-grad for like maybe 2-3 months or something, and I realized that my portfolio at graduation was shit, so I worked on some new stuff, and I completely revamped my portfolio for that day. And I showed up, they talked to us, they interviewed a few of us, and I guess they liked me enough, and they said I didn't get the internship on the spot, but they said that I should apply, so I did. And I think 3 or 4 painstaking months of waiting, I got a phone call while I was driving or something, or I don't know, I was at a bookstore, and they said, we're calling. I missed the phone call, actually. I missed it, and I was like, oh, it's from California. Holy crap, it's from California. It's got to be Nickelodeon. And as soon as I missed it, I was trying to go outside because it was quiet. It was in a bookstore. I missed the damn thing, and I called him back, and it turns out the guy I called, like, hi, someone called me at this number. Do you know their name? Steve, I think his name was. And they're like, oh, there's so many Steves here. Maybe you can call back later. And I was like, what? Am I really blowing my chances here? But thankfully, he did call me back like 20 minutes later or something like that. I guess there was a lunch break, and I got through the interview. Okay, I think, and then I had to wait another month or so, and I did. God. Yeah, I waited, and then I think May of 2011, I got another phone call, and it was from Dora the Explorer. Not Dora herself, but like the production assistant or coordinators, whatever, and they said that I had a shot and they were going to interview me. So we set up another phone call to do an interview or whatever. After my second interview, it was like, yeah, you're in. And I had to drop everything at home and move to California for the summer. And it was the craziest experience to go through. I mean, leaving everything behind and doing all that. But I got a job, so all good.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked out 4 years later. I'm good.
I would say even then, all those months where you had to wait was probably not nearly as long as that 20 minutes when you weren't sure if that screwed it all up. That was brutal. 20 minutes ever. Like, is that it? Is it all over because of that?
Yeah. It was so brutal. I was just like thinking in my head, pacing back and forth, walking upstairs and stuff. Like, this is it. It's over. I'm never gonna get this chance again.
Oh my god.
I was going through so many things, but hey, it worked out. All right.
I like how you mentioned that, because we were talking about this before. You mentioned that you're just like, we met at a bar, and it's always tempting to tell people, it's like, how do I meet people in the industry? It's like, well, go to where the office is, and then when you see everyone walk out of the building, watch what bar they go into, and just happen to hang out there too.
Yeah, basically.
The tech companies have a workaround, though, because now they have all their bars are inside the office.
Yeah.
So now no one has to leave, and so you can't meet anybody.
That's smart.
You have to meet people from scratch.
Great, yeah.
So you can't have lurkers like me sitting around showing up at the bar. Being like, oh, hey, what do you do?
I actually had a question sent to me from before the podcast started. This is from Facebook. This is from Josh Clark. And he posted up this photo, this picture that he's done. Of Leonardo from TMNT, and he asked, "How can I join you?" And I assume that means, "How can I get into the industry and work on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?"
Oh boy, that's a tough one. Well, like, if you're really trying to look for a position on Turtles specifically, I mean, it's not the easiest thing to get on, but it's tough because the animation industry, they're not always looking for somebody, but it's really dependent on what our needs are, and depending on whether or not we're, like, if someone's left already or whatever, it's hard to get another position. But if you just so happen to be the lucky guy that a position's opened up, the main thing that I usually tell people is if you're gonna shoot for a specific show, you have to focus on gearing your portfolio for that show. So you have to do a lot of research in that regard. Like Ninja Turtles specifically on our show has a very specific style that's kind of grounded in the older comics by Kevin Eastman, but it's also got a lot of deep-seated stuff in the 1987 series, the one that everybody usually knows about. And you have to gauge the style of the show. You have to see what the artists are looking at, like their influences, their references. If you watch the show, there's a ton of horror movie references. There's a ton of anime references. Just Japan is all over the Ninja Turtles. But there's also a lot of classic stuff. Like there's a bunch of characters from the 80s comics and stuff. So you have to be aware of who you're trying to impress. So knowing what the show's about, knowing who the artists are. I mean, it's obviously you can't really know exactly who's behind the wheel of determining how you're going to get the job or not. But we're kind of in this age where like the artist behind the animation isn't so behind the scenes anymore. So you can see just based off like the cast credits and all that stuff, and just check them out. Maybe they're online, maybe they have a blog or a Tumblr or whatever. And if you can kind of see what their influences are, you'll kind of get the vibe of the show. So it's really just doing research, doing a ton of practice in their styles or in their or checking out their own references, and then maybe maybe just reaching out to them, like this so far. And I mean, it's always a good idea to do that, just not being super stalkerish, I guess.
Don't stand outside their window in a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
It's not a good way to do it.
You don't necessarily want to do that.
If you wanted to get onto a specific show, would you recommend or not recommend doing fan art of that show?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt, but I wouldn't be. That wouldn't be the focus for trying to get onto the show. I would do your own stuff. Do your own projects. Try to stand out as your own person, because fan art is really cool and everything, but the reason we want people, I would hire somebody, is that they have their own influences that they've cultivated along the way of their own, their art history or whatever, and how would that influence their artwork, and how could they bring that to the show? If you're constantly doing fan art of the show that you want to get on, then that's all and that's not necessarily what we want. I would want to see way more influences on, like if Ninja Turtles is all about sci-fi and all that, then what are other sci-fi influences? What are other shows or cartoons are you into that might relate? And then how can you apply that knowledge to to your portfolio and show what you can do.
I wonder if there's almost a fallacy in fan art where, to a certain degree, you're emulating art of someone who's already on the project and on the team. So they're like, well, we already have the guy here,
Yeah, exactly.
What are you gonna bring,
Yeah, it would make sense to have somebody like, can you. What else can you bring to the table, basically? Yeah. At least that's what I would imagine for myself. And it's pretty tough out there, but I can tell it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to have a similar style, because I mean, when you're working for somebody else, when you're working for another show, that's what they'll want to know is if you're going to be able to work in that style anyways. If you can't, then, you're it's not going to cut it. They need somebody that can adapt quickly,
Yeah, I've been working on creating a portfolio myself recently. And there's like certain companies that I would love to work for. So what I've been doing is I've created like a Pinterest of just like all of the top animators and artists and background artists and all of that from those companies that I love. And then I can just see all of their artwork in one place, like sat next to each other, and I can think, what do each of the different people bring to the company, and maybe why did that company choose this specific set of artists? And it actually taught me a lot just collecting those pictures together and trying to think about what could I bring if I wanted to go to that company, or in some cases it even showed me I wouldn't fit in at a certain company because my style doesn't match up with the kinds of things that they appear to be looking for and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I found that really interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's basically what I did too. It's just like I have a huge Pinterest board of just a ton of artists that I admire and that I think that their style would fit my own, but also possibly with the style of whatever show I'm trying to work for or trying to create for. So that's a great idea.
So you first got picked up for Dora the Explorer, right?
Yeah.
So how does a transition in that industry work? Was it kind of a reapplication process when someone opened, or did they come to you and say, hey, we'd like
they had done this fight for me. They had to fight. They had to hit each other in a room, and then okay, we want him right now to work with us. And they're
wow.
No.
In an
exaggerated way, but something like that. Because I was working at Dora, I'm contracted technically. I had a verbal agreement with them that I would work with them for, it's like a year or something like that, and that's what I promised. But the thing is I was a production assistant, so I wasn't doing any artwork or anything. So, but what they wanted me for at Turtles was art, and that's a little more important. That's a little less expendable than, say, a production artist. So, I didn't. The funny thing is that I hesitated when they offered me the job at Turtles because of the Dora thing. But my boss was like, "What the hell are you talking about? You're crazy. Why would you turn us down?" And obviously thinking about it now, it's like, well, duh. But to me, at that moment, I was just so caught up in I guess just a whole respect type thing. I didn't know how to act here. I didn't know what it was about. But man, it was a crazy situation because they had to. They did have to fight for me, so my schedule at Dora got extended because they wanted me there, or what was it? Turtles wanted me in February, or no, earlier than that. But let me backtrack. So November is when I got the gig to do freelance work, and then they wanted me full time a few weeks after that, and this was following the whole holiday vacation and whatnot. And and Dora wanted to keep me for as long as possible, so they started haggling between each other, okay, a month or a couple weeks or something like that, and and eventually got up to the point where it's okay, February is the deal. So I was totally fine with it. I didn't care. I just wanted to work. I just wanted to have a job, and it was such a dream. Holy crap, this is Ninja Turtles. So it didn't matter to me because I really liked my team over at Dora. They were really cool guys. They were all really old school artists. A bunch of them worked on Chip and Dale and Rugrats and the old school Turtles, the '87 ones, the 2003 ones too.
That's awesome.
It was just like it was cool knowing all those people, and it was a bummer to leave, but obviously I wanted to seek other opportunities as well. I mean, that's the whole reason I was there.
Yeah, you're there to make art.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I just didn't think that it would be so soon from that
How long
internship.
was it at that point?
It had been 5 months total, so about 5 months as a production assistant, and that was pretty quick. And I had thought that I'd be there for maybe a few months, like 2 to 3 months or something, that I'd be there a lot longer, that like a year maybe. But they cut it short. So
what's the so what were you doing as a production assistant then?
So production's mainly about managing the schedules, the artists, just to make sure that the shows deliver on time. And being a production assistant on a 2D show is a lot different than a CG show. And Turtles is a CG show. So on Dora the Explorer being 2D, we handled a lot of things comparatively on our own versus where on Turtles there's maybe like 3 or 4. There was 1 or 2 for us. So we handled a lot of stuff, and there's a lot more assets involved in 2D shows compared to 3D shows. So there's way more props and way more characters and way more backgrounds because everything has to be drawn. Whereas in 3D, you just you click render and boom, there it is.
Oh, wow.
But for 2D, everything has to be created per shot. So when we did that, that was like me labeling all the scenes, labeling all the props and characters with their proper scene numbers, and it was a lot of organizational type things, just making sure that everyone was aware of all of their jobs and whatnot. So I'd go around and just like let them know like so this job should be done in a couple weeks maybe, or a couple days. So I was that guy like hounding the artists like can you be done soon or something. There's like there's kind of like
around the corner they were like, oh god.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Like I didn't know that it was so prevalent until I became an artist and I saw it on my end, like, oh my god, leave me alone. But you get it because the show has to air at some point. It's got to be delivered, and so I think it's something where being a production assistant is very I think it gives artists a good idea if you go from that route, say a production artist or a production assistant to an artist. You appreciate both sides because you know what it takes to deliver on both ends, and it's I wouldn't say it's just as stressful to be a production assistant, but it's a different kind of stress. Like you have your production manager just weighing in on you, just making sure like things have to be shipped, but then an artist has to get their things done. They have deadlines, and we stay way longer than the production has to. I'll see board artists staying from like 9, 10 o'clock at night, but you're supposed to clock out at 6. It's like it's a long gig. Passion is there, but also just the drive of having to deliver. Stuff.
So are they on a pretty actual like rigorous schedule, like trying to keep you for a certain amount of hours, or is it just the kind of thing where are they pretty loose, like however long it takes to be here, or?
It's pretty much however long it takes. I mean, it's got to get done. Like there will be a rigorous deadline of maybe like from what I understand from our schedule, it's like it takes from script to finish 6 months roughly, or something like that. Each episode, but we do every episode all at the same time. So everything's at different stages. So all the episodes are all being written all at the same time, and then we start designing based off of storyboards or whenever the script's available. So it gets it can get pretty tough. So like we're working on the show on an episode basically up until it airs. So if it's being aired on Sunday morning or Saturday night or Saturday morning, we're working on it like Thursday, Friday of, just to make sure
it really gets that close, huh?
It gets that close. Like
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty intense.
What happens if there's just like some error and you're just like, oh my god?
It's gotta make it, man. It's gotta make it. Like
I didn't edit out the joke about my boss that I left in there for my friend. Oh no!
Son of a bitch, no. But yeah, it does get to that point. Like it'll get up there. I don't know of any close calls because I'm not in that specific. I guess at that specific portion of the process or the pipeline when they're really up to the gun, you know.
Yeah.
But we're pretty close. Like we'll be working on stuff maybe a week before or like the week of, because what they have to do is before they make sure that that everything's okay to ship, they have to do like color correction, make sure the sound is okay and all that stuff. And color correct is maybe like, I don't know, a couple weeks before or something like that. I don't really know the schedule, but it's really close. It's really close. And they'll do last look type stuff, you know. And
it's so crazy to me. I would just always think with animation that it would be the kind of thing where like they made the stuff a year before, because I always remember thinking about like with South Park being fast, but South Park's like a very basic animation kind of like style. Yeah. So I would think with these other shows where it could be more complicated that it would be the thing where it's like, oh no, we finished this episode, last year or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that it would go so close like that.
It can get pretty tight. Like there are some things that can't be changed. Like animation can't be changed. Like within a month or like within a couple weeks or something like that. It depends on how complex the scene is or whatever, but we would have had to cut it like way early in order to change stuff like that. But we do have in-house animators that can take care of stuff like that. But the bulk of all that work is done overseas, so we can't do major overhauls in the scene so close to delivery. It's just not possible. So we can do like small stuff here and there. Like if like we rendered out a mouse in the background and it's gotta do something like carry a can or something. I don't know, like something really small, like really small stuff you can do. But man, we do work.
There must just be like there had to have been some like moments in there though where you're just like, there's no way. There's just, and then it always works out, but there's just like, there's just no way this is gonna like. Have you had a moment where you were like, something and you were just like, that they can't be serious, and then you had to like go into like the men's room and just stare into the mirror for a minute and just be like, I don't know.
What am I doing? Why
did I dream about this?
I literally do dream about work sometimes. Like, oh man, we're so close. Why haven't we made it? It's pretty crazy. I have heard of some instances where we've been like, oh, I don't know if we're gonna make it, and we've had to make a few sacrifices here and there. So some things that we wanted to do just didn't make it in.
Yeah.
So we just kick ourselves later.
Put out like a 7-minute episode with a lot of commercials.
Yeah. That's that happens.
That's nuts. I never would have thought it would have been that close in shows that
me neither.
that
like
technical.
I'd heard of the South Park thing, but I didn't realize it was like essentially across the board thing.
Yeah.
Well, like the thing that I really like about our show is that our showrunner is so detailed and so specific in what he likes, and it's great because it makes the show seem way more alive than some of the other shows that I've seen, just because they focus on the little things, like like you would see maybe like a soda can or a bottle or a a piece of gum or whatever, and most of the time they'll just like draw something like this where it's pack of gum, and it's like gum, but he'll be like, okay, look at this wrapper from like the 1950s or like the like Bubblicious from like 1983 or something like that, and he'll just like get really detailed, like, okay, there's like the logo has to be like this big, or the logo has to be in cursive, or it's got to be, whatever, it's got to be faithful to whatever the show is, or the item that we're referencing is, and he'll do that with pretty much everything, like,
wow.
Like everything. Like if we're building a giant robot that's made out of car parts or something like that, he'll be specific to what kind of car is in that robot. Like it's got to be like a beat-up bug or something like that. So it's great in that regard, but it's also to our detriment because then we're gonna have to focus on all this crazy stuff when maybe it's only there for like a shot or two, but. In the end, I think it's really worth it.
That's what makes the turtles difference, right?
Yeah, totally. That's the beauty of it.
Has he come up with like a slogan that he's just like, hey, like if his name's like Kevin, if he's just like, I just really want to make this a Kevin thing, We gotta get the Kev shot in, right?
Kind of. I don't know. I think the thing that I hear a lot is because Donatello makes most of the gadgets in the show, so he'll make stuff from junkyard things. So it's like, oh, that's just a whatever it is. Like if I'm going to be painting, say like a mutagen scanner type deal, it's got to be made out of junkyard parts. It's got to be dirty. It's got to be made out of metals. It's got to be made out of like the weirdest shit you would see in a junkyard or whatever, and it's got to be painted that way very specifically. So it's like, oh yeah, that's a Donnie creation, or that's a Krang creation, or whatever. So there's always like these little cues here and there, or whatever, of like instant, I guess, like you just know what it is without having to go into too much detail for whatever that assignment is for the day. It's cool.
I like the fact that they're making sure that things link back to not only the characters but also the show's aesthetic in general. Like there's certain rules that certain things have to follow,
for sure.
You're going to have to keep within those. But that kind of creates the best creativity because then you can go, okay, how far can we push this? Yeah. They do a really great job in making sure that the viewers understand what, like if a new enemy is to appear, that they have a new color set, new set of color swatches to their characters. So like, for instance, the Krang, the pink little aliens, they're all very pink, very blue, and they have lots of chrome and light blue materials everywhere, and like really hot pinks. So when they're on screen because of their colors, their color palette, their design language and stuff. And same thing goes for Donnie. His stuff is all made out of junkyard parts, and it's all made out of dirty metal and stuff like that. So they do a great job from like the design and the get-go, art direction and all that. And it's been really consistent, which is great. I really like that. Okay, we've got like a bunch of artwork to show, so I'm going to do that quickly. I can rearrange my screen slightly. Okay. Okay, so first up, you have to bear with me, my computer's running a little bit slow today. It says, please don't load billions of things, run a podcast, and also work on a giant banner, please.
Yes. It's like, don't you understand that Google Chrome is enough?
Yeah.
guessing some things I just did there, but let's see what I can do. All right, Mike, how subtle can you get? How subtle can you get? There you go. That's pretty subtle. Nice.
Okay, there we go. This is from Animaniac1126.
Oh, they did the pumpkin guy.
The pumpkin guy.
Nice.
Yeah, it's please draw me and my pumpkin army. And yeah, there we go. I love like the little
cute.
pumpkins have little faces. And there's like this guy that's like
parachuting in.
yeah, like a paratrooper pumpkin. And then this guy reminds me of like Snake from Metal Gear Solid. But that's awesome.
We were so close. We almost painted pumpkin guy for this.
We did. We were thinking about it.
Yeah. Then Jazzy you jumped in, and it was all like, I'm gonna upload some badass photos that Mike can't refuse, because he's gonna want to paint. Guess right.
And then the next one is a Slam 9-piece. Oh my god.
Oh.
This is
awesome.
me destroying my phone by going near it.
That's awesome.
I love that you showed that it's me by putting in my smudge guard.
Yeah, the smudge cards in your hands. We're gonna have to also save that as title screens.
That's brilliant.
Podcast.
Just using my like electromagnetic powers.
To ruin all your electronics.
I am become death, destroyer of technology. Brilliant, thank you. Simon. Right, there we go. If anyone has any other artwork, you can post it in the Artist Lounge thread. Oh god, there's more, I think.
You ever see that clip of Oppenheimer saying that quote as he's kind of just thinking, like, you know, recollecting all of his experience in making the atomic bomb?
Oh gosh.
There's a great documentary. It's actually the trailer for it. I should post it in the Arts Lounge. Just the trailer alone for it was so awesome, and it's like you could just see him as he's talking about it and saying that, like, just how much of just the realization of what he's built, you know, like sinking in.
Crap.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Is it bad that I know about that because of Civ 5?
That's where I am.
That's actually a great thing. That shows that, you know, it's like Civ 5 is a smart game, you know. That's a smart people game.
It's a smart game
like
where Gandhi tries to murder you.
Well, I played it for a good 30 minutes, and I was just like, yeah, all right, I'm smarter now.
You understood everything immediately.
I'm the only person, I think, who's ever played Civ 5 for only 30 minutes. And just was like, I'm done now, and I walked away from it.
In
You're
the
crazy.
universe.
Oh, it's late. I better go to bed and stop playing Civ 5.
What?
Ninja Turtle.
Yep, so this piece is from Passion for Drawing, and they've said, here is my picture in homage to our guest. Here's an interesting story. When I was young and the TMNT comics came out, Eastman and Laird put out a call for artists to work at their studio, way back in the early 80s. I sent my stuff in, I made it to the finals, but I did not get it because I was 16 and could not move. That always sits in the back of my mind about how close I was to being a part of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Man, that's awesome. That reminds me of
classic.
It was crazy. Just getting the gig with Turtles was probably one of the craziest experiences. Just like
Getting the what?
Just getting the gig at Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, just alone that the fact that, you know, they're bringing the show back, you know, was really cool. But the fact that I was able to work on the show was like, man.
Yeah, you're gonna be a part of it, you know.
Yeah, like I grew up with the show. It was insane.
Yeah. It's just.
Imagine if you could tell 10-year-old you that was what you were going to do.
Yeah, like shut up, you're crazy. No way.
You'd be like, I can't. I wouldn't be able to handle it.
I can't.
I'd get too cocky.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't be hungry enough. I gotta get hungry. Gotta want it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, like, I had no idea I wanted to be an artist when I was a kid, but.
Oh, really? You didn't? What were you as a kid? What would you think you were gonna be?
I wanted to be an astronaut. So I want to be an astronaut. But I drew when I was a kid, but I stopped when I was maybe like 5 or something like that. I just stopped drawing.
How long did you stop for?
So I was a senior in high school, and then I took drawing classes, and it's like, this is awesome. And it's because like my girlfriend, she kind of I would have a girlfriend in high school, and then like try to impress her. Hey, look who just watched my girlfriend. But so she basically, me trying to impress her with gifts of my artistic whatever. I started drawing again, and then I gave her stuff. So I drew things for her. And then that just kind of ignited my passion for drawing again. And then I decided to go to art school.
Wow. It was much easier to impress her with drawing than it is with astronauting.
Yeah, basically. So. Space and stuff.
That was interesting. It was that long of a break, though. Like, lots of times with artists, it's always just kind of like. I mean, how did your family like look at your art? Were family pairs or people downs, or were they like, well, let's find something a little more practical,
Yeah, my dad is actually a musician, so he was totally cool.
Oh, cool.
So I during that time growing up and stuff, I thought I'd probably be like I guess like a computer engineer or computer science major or something going into college, and that's what I grew up because my dad introduced me to like Apple II when I was like 4 or whatever. So I was totally into that, and then eventually like I would draw maybe now and then throughout the years, just doodle here and there, but I never like sat down and like, okay, I'm gonna draw. But I did, however, get into Photoshop doing graphic design work, and I would help my dad out with some stuff. Like he would have work meetings or flyers or whatever, so I'd help him out. And it just kind of drew me into understanding graphic design. So I thought eventually maybe that's something I could get into. So I did that.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, can you help me make these flyers?
Yeah.
These flyers need, or some comic book characters, some really badass comic book characters.
But I was really into just graphic design, like website making, back when social media was just starting out, And this was like way before MySpace and stuff, but like Friendster.
I was gonna say, doing some Friendster social media.
Yeah.
What's before Friendster? I can't even think.
I don't even know. There's a lot of
BBS boards.
Yeah, it was weird. But yeah, I got into that. And GeoCities. That's it. Yeah, GeoCities.
Cool GeoCities web pages.
But it was weird stuff that I got into because of my dad, and he's all about it. It was cool. But my mom, she didn't care. She was like, she was just happy in general. Yeah. So,
that's good.
My son can do things. Yeah.
Nice supportive background there.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah, and especially being like Asian parents, you have that stereotype like, oh, you can do whatever you want to be as long as you're a doctor or a lawyer.
Hey, you said that, not me.
Yeah. So that's how it was. But my parents were free spirits. My mom was a free spirit, and my dad's a musician, so it just kind of worked out that way. Like, you can do whatever you want. So.
As long as it's a doctor.
Yeah, as long as it's a doctor. Yeah.
So was it like then comics were a big part of your life, like always, or is that a
no, it wasn't.
Nice.
I distinctly remember grabbing some X-Men comics from my local library when I was like probably 8 or 9 or something, and listening to a Michael Jackson CD at the same time. And that was probably my first foray into comic books. But I never really got into just because I couldn't afford it. It's like actually buying comic books and all that. My parents, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so the library was my haven for a little while. And I just didn't know that they came out in issues and stuff like that. Like that there was a continuity. I just kind of read it because they were cool and they're action heroes and stuff. So I would do that off and on, and then I got into anime and stuff like that, and that was cool. Like Naruto and the really popular stuff that started coming out, like the really action-oriented things. And that's what happened. And then when Pixar came out, like the Toy Stories and all that stuff, that's what really caught my eye. It's like, wait, you can do that as a job? Like, that's a thing? And so eventually, that I started looking into that as a possibility, but I didn't seriously look into it until I was basically graduating from high school and decided that I'm gonna fucking go to art school.
Yeah.
So, what was art school like for you? Did you enjoy it? Would you recommend it?
Art school was god awful. It was so bad. It was just like it was a waste of time for me. It was just the way they structured their curriculum at the time was just like, I don't know. It was just like YouTube videos, that I could get this stuff off the internet. Like they wouldn't really teach me anything. They would tell me what to do, but they wouldn't explain, or they wouldn't, like they wouldn't help. They wouldn't guide you. They would just kind of tell you what to do and like, okay, good luck. There wasn't a real teaching moment. So it was hard. It was hard for me to figure out what I really wanted to do and what like what kind of concentration I should get into, because there wasn't any real guidance or anything like that. So it was I guess it was kind of a humbling experience coming out of that afterwards, knowing that, especially in the animation industry, you don't necessarily need a degree of any sort. You just need to be able to do the job, honestly. Most of the people that I know don't have a degree in art or whatever, but they did. I mean, they did go to art school, maybe, but a lot of what I've learned, like, I didn't, like for instance, for me, my job, I didn't go to school for. I didn't learn any of this stuff in school because it was an art institute, and at that art institute specifically in Seattle, it was just about games over there. It was just about Microsoft was over there, and what was it? What other video games? But like Valve,
Valve's out there.
Yeah. So those guys, and that was cool, but for some reason the school had it in their heads that they didn't need to teach traditional art. That they didn't need to have traditional animation classes. Like they didn't.
Ooh.
They took away our light boxes. It was so.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
God. It was so dumb. Like, what are you doing? Like, oh, you can learn traditional animation in Flash. I was like, no, you can't. You can't learn that. You have to learn it with like paper and pencils, and I got to be hunched over a light box for hours. But that never happened. So I don't, I can't like knock down like all the art schools, but mine specifically was just a nightmare. It was just. Why are we here? So many people from my class just straight up dropped out because, they recognized that stuff before I did, And, granted, for me, it was just like, I was in it for too long, or I was in it, before I realized it, I was already like a year, maybe 2 years in,
Yeah.
And I got another year left. I should just graduate and get it over with. But the thing is, like, they made us learn 3D, and I soon realized that that's not the kind of stuff that I wanted to do. I originally wanted to be a storyboard artist because that looked appealing. I saw I saw one of the behind the scenes from The Incredibles, and or Pixar's Incredibles, and I thought that was one of the most amazing things ever. Was seeing a clip of some of their storyboards, and I was like, man, I want to do that, but there's no storyboard class at my school, so I had to learn it on my own. And so, even then, like we still had like animation. What is it? We had to do a short film at the end of our course, and I was like, how do I do that if I don't have storyboarding techniques or whatever? Like if I didn't learn that, so it was just digging itself in a hole. Like, dude, why are you still here? But I stuck with it, and I did it. But graduating and coming out of that, I realized just how far behind I was, and even more so getting the internship at Nickelodeon, just knowing like, wow, my coworkers and my internship friends and stuff, like they were like miles ahead of me. They went to proper art schools, or they went to schools that actually had dedicated animation courses. And so I had this gut feeling that, man, I'm super behind. So I had to learn a lot of it on my own. I had to study. I didn't really understand the animation industry, and I don't think anybody really does until they're in it, honestly. Like, they didn't teach any of that stuff in school. They were just like, learn everything, be good at everything, and you'll get hired. But, that wasn't the case at all.
Did you find it? Oh, sorry.
Basically what I was going to say is that what they wanted is that they wanted something specific. That they wanted people good at what they were going to do, not somebody that could do everything. And, it's just how it is here.
Well, I'd ask Ken, like, was there specific stuff that was being used in the industry that you weren't, like, exposed to in school or in your own experience that, like, because I don't know anything about it, but you get there and suddenly they're like, you need to know this program, and you're like, I don't even know what that program is. Is there any like that kind of moments, or is it pretty standard?
It's actually pretty standard. Like, Photoshop is pretty standard over there. That's the main tool that we use for pretty much everything. Like, it's Photoshop. For other jobs like storyboard artists, they use programs like Storyboard Pro, Toon Boom. And those are things that we didn't even hear about in art school.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, they just use Photoshop or whatever. But also, it was just mainly knowing what jobs were even available. Like, I had no idea what a color stylist was, or that I even had a shot, like that there was anything. Like, what was remotely close to a entry position, like, what I found out was, like, I didn't know what a cleanup artist was. Like, they didn't tell us what that was. Like, that the design job is broken down with prop design, character design, and background design. Like, I didn't know that. Nobody told us that. They just said concept artist and storyboard artist. Like, those were the jobs. That was it. And so our school was just terribly misinformed. So I didn't know any of that. I didn't know that there were so many jobs available, or that the storyboard artists, that their jobs required a lot of just understanding of film in general. That, like, most comic book artists end up turning into board artists and vice versa. And I didn't even realize, I didn't make those connections. I don't know if it was just me, but it was just, there were just so many things that just didn't connect, and that they didn't explain. And I had wished that somebody had told me this, because it would have made things a lot easier to focus on once I had gotten there, or just to know that those things were possible. So.
Yeah.
It was great.
It sounded very overwhelming.
It was very overwhelming. I mean, just being at the Nickelodeon internship itself was like, holy crap! This is these are my heroes. I never thought that this was an actual job, but it is. It's crazy.
Drawing by Anon says, I toured the Seattle Arts Institute in my junior to senior back in '95. I'm that old, lol. This was pre-Pixar, and the impression I walked away with was that advertising and commercial art were the only jobs.
Oh yeah, that's kind of what they showed us too. Is it was mostly graphic design and just commercial art in general, like for toys, graphic design and stuff like that. But I'm guessing, back then, of course, that's what it was, because the animation industry didn't seem like it was necessarily booming in '95. I mean, I think Lion King or Toy Story had just come out in '95 or something like that. So, like, I don't even think it was until recently that the animation industry kind of hit its stride as, like, this is a possibility as a job. And from what I remember is that the animation and the gaming program at my school was relatively new. So they really didn't know what they were doing. and from like, also, like, at the time, it was just like teachers were getting fired left and right because they didn't have master's degrees. I was like, what? Like, if they know what they're doing, they know what they're doing, and that's why they're here and teaching. And, like, I would see, like, their artwork and stuff. Like, man, these guys are amazing. Like, why is that such a crutch? It's so dumb. And I lost that opportunity to learn with those great artists because of that.
They probably had to they had to make the master's degrees look important.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, you can only get a job if you have the master's degree.
Yeah.
Here's your pink slip.
Oh man, it was such a bummer. Like, as soon as I get in, people start getting fired. I'm like, awesome. Thank you. It's like I got here at the right time.
We got a super serious question from Ken. Who was your favourite roommate back when you started on the show?
Shut up. Oh, I mean, of course, it was this guy who I met as an intern. He was this funny little Asian kid who is actually older than me, who just so happens to be named Ken, who was an internship at Kung Fu Canada. So what a cool guy. He was the best. He stayed in his room. He didn't come out. He just stayed there and played video games until the long hours of the night. And then we would go out and get some chicken at Popeyes.
That sounds like a plan.
It was pretty awesome. So yeah,
you guys met in Nickelodeon, right? Like,
yeah.
Interns there, and then what was your very first awkward conversation? How did the roommate situation come up?
I think it was, I don't know, Ken, back me up here. When was this? I remember meeting him maybe at a bar in Burbank, or maybe somehow during the internship, passing by at Nickelodeon. I just remember specifically running into their intern group while I was, like, just walking into work, and just seeing him, or that whole group being toured, and they were just like, the group leader or whoever, I think her name was Jocelyn. She works at Facebook now. She's super cool. She turns at me and was like, "Hey, it's Tremaine," and I say, "Hey, it's me." So I say hi to them. She tells everybody that I was an intern and I worked there and all that. And then I'm pretty sure we just all hung out at Barney's, which was the local beer place. And I think I was saying to everybody that I was looking for a roommate because mine had just left. I was actually shacking up with another guy who was an intern, and we were in the same room together, so that led to all sorts of awkward So I was just sleeping on the ground. I did not have a bed. I didn't have anything. I had a fitness mat that I bought from a Sports Authority or Big Five or whatever, and I just slept on the ground. And he had this awesome.
That is so Los Angeles.
Bed. Oh, it was definitely Los Angeles.
You guys had the full Los Angeles experience.
It was fantastic. Oh man, and I did that for a few months after my internship. So I didn't get a bed until November maybe.
Jesus.
So that was like 3 or 4 months after my internship. So a whole 6 months of just laying on the ground. Great.
I had a friend when he first moved to the Bay Area. It takes a long time to find an apartment out here. I mean, back then it did, and now I don't even know how people can rent a place now. It's just so expensive. I don't even know how people get started. But I have to adjust my camera as I talk because I accidentally headbutted it. It's my big stupid head. But there was this closet in the front of my apartment. That's a decent sized closet, and that was his bedroom for like a good month until his now wife, then girlfriend, could like come out here and finish her job, and then they could find a place. And so they had he's sleeping in a closet, and the closet wasn't big enough to lay across, so he's in a sleep bag, and he had to sleep diagonally in it, so he had room for his legs. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, because it's like me and at the time my roommate and good friend Andrew, like we kind of had like really lucked out getting this apartment, and I've been in it ever since, and that was probably like 9 years ago or something. But yeah, when you find an apartment in the Bay Area, like unless you're leaving the Bay Area, you like the apartment, you hold on to that for dear life. And so. But it was funny because like that's just one of those things. That's what you gotta do,
Yeah,
and he would just be in that closet, and then I have this anthology of I think I've shown it on here where it's like 2,000 pages of wordless comics from around the world.
Yeah.
So he just sat in that closet with that anthology, just going through it.
That's awesome. That's the life here.
Comics. Yeah, just reading comics, just looking for work and. Waiting until locking down a place, and they eventually got a place in the Tenderloin, which, if you know anything about San Francisco, is kind of an intense neighborhood.
Oh.
Pretty intense. Pretty intense.
Keep it safe.
And expensive. I don't know. Like back then, it was cheaper because it wasn't a great neighborhood and kind of intense. But it's in the heart of downtown, but it's the thing. It's expensive. And it's a crappy neighborhood, so I'm like, why do people live in it? And then people are like, oh, there's cool little restaurants and kind of cool spots. It's like, you're aware that you can live in any neighborhood and still go to those, right? Like, you don't have to live in this one.
Yeah.
Like, and because the thing is, if it was cheap, I would get it. It's like, well, it's cheap. You gotta just do what you gotta do. But it's not cheap. So it's like, why are you living there? It's expensive and terrifying. Like,
yeah. That's the artist life, I feel like.
I mean, that's where a lot of like little kind of indie and hip galleries were popping up. I think some are still around. They come and go.
Yeah. My guy is looking like a Muppet right now. Looking weird.
I'm gonna have to make the eye smaller on mine, and I'm just dreading it because like I put a lot of work just getting the eye to look the way it does, and I know I have to make it smaller, and I'm just like, I've been painting eyes too big lately. Been making the same mistakes.
Well, you guys are going super awesome. I'm making them look like Muppets.
There's nothing wrong with a Muppet.
No, not at all.
People love Muppets.
Yeah. I love Muppets.
I don't know the Muppets like I should.
I noticed that you were using the pen tool. Is that something you have to use a lot in work, and so you've learned it, or is that something you naturally prefer to use?
I started using that way back when in like high school, and it kind of stuck with me, and it just so happened to be one of the more important things that I'd had to learn how to use at my job. So I use it all the time. I use it all the time at work. It's one of the most you'd think, because like we have to work very, I guess, flexibly, in the thought that we have to do a lot of revisions, just because the nature of the job is, if it's not to our showrunner standards, then we gotta change it. And knowing that it's a 3D show, we have to be able to call things out and give reference to what real textures are and stuff like that. And with the pen tool, we mask out a lot of things. We work in a very layered way. So when I end up working, I'll have like hundreds of layers, but they'll all be masked in a folder. And so we'll work that way, just so that like if a texture isn't working, I will be able to just swap in a new one. So I'll be able to paint a texture and just swap in a new one. Mm-hmm. And it'll save the day, because if I was working all flat, it would kill me. I'd have to redo a whole texture, and it just would not work. It would suck.
Yeah, that makes perfect
sense. My back! Oh God!
Oh my God, what are you doing?
The stool. The stool was high. I don't regret it. No regrets. I'm gonna slip and hit my face on the table stretching like this. I can just tell. That'll be fine.
That's dangerous.
Okay. Got a few more art pieces, so I'm just gonna load them up to show. Okay, so make it stay on my face. There we go. Okay, so the first piece that we've got is from Drawing by Anon of Gestiute. There we go. How cool is that?
Nice.
I love how defined the jaw is.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
It's mighty fine contour work.
I feel like they've really done what we were talking about before, where you get the outside of the head, the silhouette, and then also the eyes and the relation of the features perfect to show who it is. It's so cool.
I like it. Sometimes when I look at these, I can see things adjustments I need to make in my painting. Better fix that.
And then the other one that we have is from Gestiute themselves, a self-portrait.
Oh, nice. I'm on a very little screen. Is that an ink wash piece right there?
It looks like ink to me. Let me see how much I can zoom in. Yeah, it looks like fine liner and ink wash.
That's awesome.
So cool. I really love the lips. You got so much emotion in them. Okay, I'll jump it back to everyone's pictures.
The raw, dirty sneer.
Okay. Just checking chat, checking all the stuffs. If anyone has any questions, please write them in chat and I shall ask them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like the shadow that you're doing at the moment, Jermaine.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out the color scheme I want to go with. I like messing around with just colors in general. I guess that's my job. Just trying to see any weird color palettes I can come up with. I guess it's a little bit more freeing that way.
Yeah, definitely. I was looking through your Instagram earlier today, and I really liked the Powerpuff Girls piece that you did.
Oh, the Mojo Jojo one?
Exactly, yeah. I thought that was so good.
Yeah, thank you. That's I'm working on this whole series of them. Let me pop one up. I'm working on a whole series of them. The whole idea of it is just bad guys inside of a little terrarium, so that when you put them in a frame and you hang them on a wall, they look like they're in your wall. So I think that's
it was so cute.
That's a great idea.
He's Mojo Jojo is like my favorite villain of all time, just because he's so dumb and smart at the same time. He wants to be evil, but he's so cute. He's so adorable, and he's a little shit, so it works out very well. So yeah, this is the one I'm working on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just like I don't know if you guys noticed, but like in the background is like a poorly painted Townsville, just to keep him safe. Like this is your home now. It's got a little bits of fun. And then on the ground, those candies, runts, those hard candies, runts.
Oh yeah.
Like little fruits. So I put that in there for him. So it's to scale when you put it on your wall. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long did you put in that piece so far? Like how many hours are you into it there?
Probably maybe 8 hours. Off and on. I can't really tell because I work on them like an hour here, hour there, or not whatnot. But they move pretty quick just because I work very simply. Like I only use 3 values usually when I'm painting.
Oh.
So when I'm painting each object, I use just 3 values to get that painterly look. I like using Kyle Webster's brushes. He's got a ton of these really cool brushes that have this traditional look to them, which I really like. So you can get these really cool edges.
They've literally been recommended every single week.
Yeah, he's just a boss. He's so good. So I like having that traditional look, but I work in a very technical way where I like having crisp edges. I like having, but I also like having painterly edges as well. So when I go in and paint things, I like to work flat. I like to work with where it's almost like a paper cutout, I guess.
Yeah.
So I have really hard shadows and characters. The line work is very simple. I don't have too many layers, really, when it comes to layering highlights and layering shadows and stuff. Like I try to keep it as simple as I can, and just to help put focus on whatever it is I'm trying to put focus on. So just having that 3 value system helps a lot. And I have to go and check every now and then with the black and white filter just to help. And then like I can see where all my hot spots are, where my mids are, and like where my deep blacks are. It just helps keep things simple. So the next one on my series is the little Majin Buu from Dragon Ball.
Oh my god, look at him!
Yeah. He's another little favorite of mine. And it's just like
that's so good.
Eating an M&M. So I'll be doing a couple of these, and hopefully me and a couple buddies are going to be doing another convention, and I'll have these released by the end of the month.
Oh my god, they will do so well at a convention.
Yeah, like they're just so fun to do. They're just so derpy looking. If you could keep little bad guys in a box and keep them in your wall, I mean, why not?
I kind of want one myself.
Yeah. I'll let you know.
I was wondering, do you start with grayscale either on the actual piece or as like a little thumbnail on the side, or do you jump straight into the color and just keep flicking over to check that you're doing the right values?
I flick over. I like working in color right away. I'm kind of an anomaly when it comes to getting this job because I don't have a very good traditional background, so I haven't painted very much at all. Like I have painted like traditionally with acrylics and oil and but I can count on my hands how many times I've done it, so I don't really have a really good understanding of color, but I study as much as I can, and I kind of pick and choose from palettes out of places that I've seen already or from nature because it's so easy, and so I will always go back to values, because that's kind of the most important thing that I've learned. Is as long as the values read, you can kind of pick and choose whatever colors you want. Honestly, like there are obvious some exceptions where people will immediately look at it and be like, oh my god, that's disgusting. But you can have cool colors and warm colors in places as long as they're in the right places. You know what I mean? If they're lit correctly, then you can, as long as they're interchangeable in certain aspects. So that's kind of what I've learned. So I try to paint simply and apply everything that I've learned in that regard. Otherwise, everything just ends up looking really muddy or just weird, That's what I do.
Well, got one of those light touch moments. Like, don't touch too hard with the brush. You want it to blend. You want it to go on top.
Oh, you guys
Bear
are
with
making
me, oil paint.
You guys are making me want to work on this piece, like on best to use piece, and I can't. I don't have time.
I got shit.
You're missing out on the party.
No.
I should be working on that Majin Buu one, but I kind of want to do this.
I shouldn't be working on anything. I can do whatever I want.
Lucky.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah,
I got stuck, so I'm moving on with something else.
So that happens to me all the time. I'll switch to something completely different. Oh, God, why? Why is this not working?
We were trying to figure out why people weren't talking in chat, and Drawing by Anon was like, I was grabbing another beer. Jonathan Soto says Titans for life.
that's my friend. He's stupid. We play that game, Destiny.
Oh yeah.
Bungie release, and we've been stuck on that for like months. Like ever since it came out, that's like the only thing we do. The only thing we talk about at work is Destiny. My artwork has sci-fi influences directly because of Destiny, and it's ridiculous. It's too much. And yeah, okay, John, Titans for life. There you go. He'll do that too. He'll just like come out of nowhere and he'll be like, Titans. Yeah.
You'll find the most awkward time to yell that at you somewhere.
Yeah, because we give him shit because there's like, we all claim different classes or races or whatever, and like, yeah, warlocks are super cool, Titans suck, but hunters are cool, but he'll just bust out, like, we're not even talking about it, and he'll just be like, yeah, Titans for life! Okay, John. But it's cool. We love him.
Manuel Fernandez says, what are your favorite resources for study? Are they on the web or books, etc.?
Both, but mainly Pinterest. Pinterest is amazing.
Really?
Yeah,
I love Pinterest so much. I'll go on there. I'll show you my main source of inspiration. La-di-da.
I tried signing up on Pinterest, and it asked for you male or female, and I said male, and it just deleted it off my computer.
No, dude, Pinterest is awesome. Because it's like so much better than Google Image because people are already collecting things. So if you're looking for reference on something very specific, they've already kind of gathered things. So related pins and whatnot will already be there. So, like for instance, I have this board called Sci-Fi Costume Reference, and I'll just like go around and search for sci-fi costumes or futuristic things, and stuff like this will pop up, and I'll get like this really cool suit or whatever, and then you'll see in like related images, you'll see other exosuits or whatever, and it's so good. It's so good.
That's
so I'll use this. But the main one that I use specifically is this board called Character Design References, and they've got like hundreds of and like thousands of pins, you know, and it's all ranging from character anatomy to design, silhouettes, thumbnails. Look at all this stuff.
And so that's a board that a bunch of people submit to, or is that something? I feel like such an old man asking how fucking Pinterest works.
I don't know if it's a bunch of people. I mean, it's curated by this one account, and it's just pins and pins of stuff here, and they've got like, you know, like the designs for characters, like model packs for different movies and stuff. It's just really, really cool. And it ranges from like artists well established in the industry already, or, you know, some up and comers as well. And it's just really cool.
How thorough it is. It's like so organized on it.
Yeah. It's organized by everything you could think of, like animals and like very specific stuff like vehicles, like genies. Like they've got character design for genies. Robots, you know, it's such a great resource, and I highly recommend it. But other than that, I think one of the biggest things that I look at when it comes to books is just the art of books for movies. A lot of the Pixar stuff, like if I'm looking at my own references, it'll be like the Pixar animated books or art of. Specifically, the one that I look at a lot is the Incredibles book. That one's really cool.
Who is it?
The Incredibles.
The Incredibles. Let me see if I have it. It's on Amazon somewhere. Just because the way that I paint is very flat, and it's got this Art Deco type look to it, and I just really love that era. And the whole movie is just such an inspiration. So everything that I kind of do is kind of inspired by that style, or just that, you know. Yeah, I guess that style. It's just really cool.
I think one of the first times I ever saw how like far that style could be pushed, and how was like just Samurai Jack, and then the original Batman cartoon.
Oh my god, I love that. you're
so good.
Oh, so good. Yeah, Samurai Jack is one of my all-time favorite cartoons, and my boss actually worked on it, and I just seeing her portfolio was one of the most humbling things ever. It was just seeing it was like, oh my god, I don't know shit.
she's drawing, and you're always like lurking over her shoulder.
Yeah, like
your head just pops up.
I would love to. Like, she's just so busy that like I would just love to just like sit behind her and see that I've got my own shit to do. You know, yeah, I would be fired. But it's just amazing. It's just amazing seeing, you know, they did everything traditionally. You know, it was all, you know, paint. It was all paint and brush. But you know, everything's moved on to digital now. That it's hard to see that nowadays. You know, we just don't have time.
It's crazy. Well, and it's crazy to think with the cartoon with that kind of design.
Yeah.
Like it just seems like it would be so easy to do digitally, but there's something about it. And that cartoon was just like so raw and stylish, and
yeah, it's gorgeous. It was gorgeous. It's so great. I just loved everything about it, and it was a really good cartoon. Like it was just really. It was funny as a cartoon, but it also was pretty damn serious, and like the things that he would go through, and it's just really cool.
It was intense, man. It was like that. It was kind of one of those cartoons that was like hypnotizing. You're just kind of watching it, and then it just kind of has this rhythm. The whole thing just keeps moving, and then you just, I don't know, you kind of just get completely lost in it.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely did. It was great. If there's any other references. For painting or just understanding color in general, there's this it's amazing book. I don't know if you guys know, like Color and Light. There's a book, by James Green. It's like one of the most amazing books about understanding how color and light works, and it's
been on my Amazon wish list for so long.
Oh my god, just get it right now. It's so beautiful, and it breaks down everything really nicely of just the way, just in general, just the way light works. And my buddy he turned me on to this, and he just some of the things that he learns, like pretty much everything I learned about color and light is from him, and he just turns me on to this book, and this is everything, just how light works, how shadows work, how colors work, just the way that what we're really doing in the end when we're creating paintings is painting the light, is we're painting the way the light is interacting with our subjects, so it's just really beautiful. It's so cool. So get it. Get it out from wish list, just get it.
We've got another piece of art to show. This is from Shmoonify. And it's glass.
Oh, I gotta switch over.
Oh, that's dope. That's really cool.
Oh, that was great. Damn, he cranked that out fast, too.
Okay. I'm sitting here trying to do this, flat piece. And it's really hard talking.
Oh, yeah, so...
Everyone always mentions the first time they do one of the podcasts, they're just like, how the hell do you guys talk and make art at the same time? And then we're like, and show art and do the chat.
Yeah, Ken told me about it, and I was like, no, I'll be fine. Holy crap, this is so hard. I barely, I would be ashamed if this was something at work. What am I doing?
Well, I think it's that thing where it's a hard adjustment because everyone's used to kind of being able to hang out with friends and draw, but there's it's kind of a difference when you're kind of on the air and doing this thing, There's, but then eventually you fall in the zone.
Yeah, you get used to it.
I try to say just really embarrassing things, and then I know once that's out of the way, it's kind of like we're all hanging out at that point. It's well, I can't believe Mark admitted that about himself, but now he seems to be I can't say anything else embarrassing, he's locked in.
Yeah.
Starts off the show talking about how he looks like a creeper, and then the rest of the show I just feel like a normal guy.
It's fine. Just get you drunk and then we're alright.
There you go.
I just wanted to say, Shmoonify, I really like this piece. It reminds me of the work of Gen Z, is that her name? From
oh my god. Yes.
Yeah, the artist for Transistor. It's just the gorgeous, just teal blue light of awesome on one side. I don't know, I just love that.
Oh yeah, her artwork is amazing. I love Transistor. Just Bastion in there, that game, and her art style is just amazing. So good.
The stupid thing is, I've never played the game. I've seen all of the artwork. I just sit there and look at screenshots, look at it.
It's so pretty. So pretty. I totally get it. I'll just load up games just so I can see the artwork load up. So good.
That was how I got into art, really. I would sit playing Sonic Adventure 2 Battle or something, and every time something happened on the screen I thought was really cool, I would pause it and then just sit there and draw the characters.
That's awesome.
I had a Sonic comic that I made with my friends. And we had characters like Shadow 2.0 and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
I remember trying to draw, maybe I mentioned this before, but I remember trying to draw the on the very first Monkey Island, that ran on the Scum engine.
Oh man.
And there was the little, the Scum bar. That first scene when you go there and he's on the pier and there's the Scum bar and the boats in the distance. I remember trying to draw that as a kid. Because I just loved the blue light on everything and all. It was hard for me to play the game because I was just so into the environment and just I was the character. I'm just walking around a town at night. This is so cool. Sitting in the dark back when you called the office the computer room because your family just had the one computer.
Yeah.
So you'd sit in the dark in the computer room. Dad would let you install a game and you're all stoked,
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a 486 in the computer room.
Oregon Trail.
Shooting buffalo, not wasting because you can't have all the meat anyways.
I died of dysentery now.
Though admittedly, Oregon Trail did not have that. I wasn't inspired by the art of the game, the Oregon. Not like I was from Monkey Island.
Yeah.
I also like the Art and King's Quest, speaking of adventure games, but that game was just so goddamn frustrating that I couldn't, like, get stoked about it.
For sure.
Back when, like, if you made a mistake in the game, it would still let you play the game, so then you wouldn't find out, like, oh, I wasn't supposed to get rid of the stick, and now I'm 4 hours further, and I have to start the whole game over. Like,
Oh my
wow.
god.
Yeah, they would do that to you.
No, I have no time for that.
Like, and then Monkey Island was the first. Like, Monkey Island joked about it. There was one point in the game where you walk too close to a ledge and the rock breaks off, and it's near the end of the game, and your character falls at a screen, and a little screen pops up and just says, "Well, now you've done it. Hope you saved." And I remember, like, as a kid, I was screaming and, like, so upset, and then he just bounces back into this, back up onto the ledge. And he's just like, "Oh, rubber tree." And I was like, like, they were just, like, messing with you, because there's, like, I bet you this kid played King's Quest before this game. Let's get in his brain.
I remember the first time a game, like, genuinely terrified me. That was Ocarina of Time, the first ever boss, Gokhma. You like, walk into this room in the Deku Tree, and it's all, like, dark greens and blacks. And you're looking around, and there's nothing there. It's just an empty room. You can't really go anywhere else. And then you look up, and this big, bloody, like, yellow eye suddenly blinks and stares at you, and then a giant spider drops down. I scared, like, I screamed.
Oh my god.
I feel like a game has never scared me that much since. Like, I've played genuine horror games, but I've never, like, screamed at a game since then.
Yeah.
You've been doing a video thing of Amnesia, too.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Classic.
Oh, man. Love that game.
Remember Alone in the Dark? That game was scary.
Fallen into it yet.
Are you playing it with headphones in the dark?
Well, I can only play so much in the dark. I started the first episode in the dark for you because you told me to.
Yes.
And then no one could see my face on the cam. They were like, what's the point in having a face cam if we can't see your face? So the other episodes I've had to put the light on. But I don't know, I just spent the entire game frustrated about the fact that I have to arrange boxes to get anywhere. It's not scary to me because the puzzles are so irritating.
Oh yeah, a puzzle can take you right out of the moment.
Yeah.
Yep. I believe that.
God, Alone in the Dark, man. That game scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. I think that's the one where it's like, did anyone else play that? Anyone know that game?
I know it.
Alone in the Dark? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is that the one where there's like the woman in the hallway, and then if you get too close or don't do it right, the skeleton, the skulls at the screen? Oh my god, it freaked me out as a kid. I hated it so much. I loved it, but I hated it so much.
Yep. My childhood right there.
Yeah, it was like that and Large Marge on Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Just like could not handle it.
Large Marge, yeah. Oh man, I love that.
That was like too much for a kid.
Yeah. That was like a surprisingly scary movie for a kid.
They used to put stuff in movies that, like when you're a kid, you just like, I can't handle it. I just can't handle it. I'd run out of the room screaming and crying when it was that. But then I loved the movie, so I just had to like deal with it, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeffrey Mazon recommends Alla Prima by Richard Schmidt.
Yep. That's my buddy, Jeff. He works with me. He knows everything.
Alla Prima.
He's the guy that got me the job, so
Nice.
He wins.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Hook you up. He was looking out.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, Jeff, get me a job.
I think be an intern first, and then I don't know, whatever.
You have to move to LA. You're gonna be a California resident now.
Yeah.
You and Dean can have like a road trip adventure and like make like a little blog about it, right?
Dude, I miss the sun. You guys have sun for a decent amount of time. We have sun for about 3 days. That's not summer.
So much sun.
We could use some of your rain if you have any rain to share, though. It's getting a little ridiculous.
Yeah,
I got prescribed the sun.
You got prescribed the sun? Oh my
The
god.
last time I went to the doctor, which was like last month or something, I was prescribed a holiday. And I was like, if you can pay for a holiday, that'd be great. And they were like, no, you just seriously need one.
Oh, man. That's funny.
Tim can attest to this. Like, at our job at the old building, like, we worked in, like, a basement. And so during the winter, like, I'd work early enough where the sun wasn't completely out, and then I'd be in a basement all day. Then when I got off work, the sun had set. So it would just feel like forever, so I would like, never really be in the sun.
Oh,
Just
God,
due to the scheduling. Oh yeah, that gets in your head. Yeah, you gotta get out. You gotta get in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
You can take an LA trip, write it off as a business expense.
Yeah.
Technically, it is. All you have to do is just do some semi-related business things. There you go.
I was so upset that business expenses didn't work the way I thought they did.
You thought you'd get all the money back, didn't you?
Yeah.
No, it's not like that at all. I remember the first time I donated stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, I donated all this, and my dad's like, you didn't even donate enough to have any significant amount of money thing happen.
Exactly.
I'm like, all right, this is what becoming an adult is, huh? Like, yeah, business expenses, you're like expecting, like, I'm gonna get so much money back.
I spent $2,300 on a laptop. Could I have that back? No.
They're like,
You
here's
don't
your
get
cheeseburger.
shit. Yeah, that sounds.
Gotta learn things the hard way.
And just to like tie it off, the laptop died 4 times.
That's right, you had to keep returning it and getting it back, and it wouldn't work because it was your hands touched it.
Because I went vaguely near it.
You went vaguely near it, and it was just like, whoa, Sarah by me? Okay, shutting down.
Alright, bye.
We're done here. We're done here, guys. Shutting down. Like, but we're a Mac. We're shutting down.
I got a blue screen on a Mac. That's how
What?
Does Mac have a blue screen?
I know, right?
I didn't know Mac had a blue screen.
you can get a blue screen. I don't know if you're meant to be able to get a blue screen, but I got one.
I would be blown away if you got a Microsoft blue screen on a Mac.
I think I took a photo of it and sent it to my friend who works at Apple, and he was just like, what did you do?
How do you do that?
I imagine a lot of your interaction with electronics ends with you saying the phrase, I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I just don't know anymore. That would be like your old lady phrase when you're an old lady, like, oh, I just don't know anymore.
My interactions with technology usually ends up with me shooting stuff on Call of Duty.
I got Goat Simulator, and that's a pretty good stress game. It's like I'm just gonna run into people and headbutt them off buildings.
Oh my god, if you put like a heart into the chat, it turns purple.
What? No, look at that. Schmoodify, I just googled Gen Z. Her work is absolutely stunning. I'm flattered you even compared it.
Oh my god.
Thank you. I gotta look that up. I don't know who Gen Z is.
Dude, do it.
Amazing.
Her work is amazing.
You know me. I got my I got my like indie, hip, fine art, douchebaggy background. You know, where I come from. That's what I know.
What, Caravaggio and...
Well, that's me. That's me even moving beyond it. I'm like, I'm tired of this contemporary thing. I only look at art that's before 1800.
Totally.
There's this professor at our college that taught art history. I think he had since passed away, but his name was Bob Olpin. And I had a class from him on like kind of like romanticism through realism, and it was so interesting because he was actually one of the editors of the old textbook kind of situation, and it wasn't one of the things where they're making you buy it because like, you know, I guess they do that a lot now. But it was funny to listen to his lectures because I would kind of forget to take notes and to know if there's a test, because the way he kind of talked about art is it really just sounded like an old man talking about his friends. So you kind of just get lost in it a little bit. And then it was so funny because so many people would get like super bored. But then like my friend Justin was in that class, and me and him didn't meet each other until after school, till after we graduated. But like I didn't know he was in there, and then later we were talking about it, and I'm just like, yeah, I just kind of get hypnotized, and he's like, yeah, it just sounds like he's talking about Friends, you know. And there was this dude Bob Open would talk about, and I always think back to that even now, that there was something about that I never saw like kind of recreated when people talk about art history at a certain time. It's just having that kind of like a, I don't know, that kind of soft, delicate voice about it. It's a funny side note that same friend was the person who he knew who I was in the art department, because one time he was walking to class and he saw me outside smoking, just sitting there, and his first thought when he saw me was, wow, that looks like the angriest person in the world. And that was me.
Nice.
That sounds about right.
I was at a particularly angry time in my life. I threw a lot of paintings into trees. There was actually a tree outside the building I'd always throw my paintings into.
Into trees?
Really?
Yeah, there was a tree. There's like a, so I would, if I was mad at a painting, I'd just walk out of class, and there's just this ledge and this tree, and I'd just throw the painting in the tree as high as I could and watch it like bounce around until it like plinkoed down to the ground, and then I'd sit there and have a cigarette.
Nice.
Yeah,
Alright.
and then I'd drag it back to class and be like, all right, how do I fix it?
I just screamed art school to me.
It was weird. I don't know. I was just like an emotional mess in school. I mean,
It happens, huh?
it was weird. I remember just like having like total. I was just like total breaking down. I don't know what the hell was going on with me. People would be like weirded out. Like, what's
Like artists does that to you.
They'd be like, "Are you okay? Things are all right." And I'm just like, I don't even know like what I was like. It wasn't even like anything like, you know, in life that was like upsetting me. I don't know what it was. I just like, it was just like a particularly weird time.
Shit happens.
I think that's just being a teenager / young adult.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's just the state of being.
Well, it's just weird because I think about it now, and it's just like usually you can always associate like some time of your life with some type of stress or something that you're struggling to adapt to. Like, I'm in a new place, I don't know people, or whatever. But that was just, I don't know why I was like so torn up. I have no idea. Like in hindsight, I mean, I know I was like pretty let down with the whole school experience, but even then I still knew it was like, well, I'm in school, like that's fine, you know, I'm doing fine, like what do I but I just, for some reason, I just like, I don't know, I just put a lot of pressure on myself, I guess.
You do that too.
Someone was saying earlier that they believed that college worked a lot better if you do it when you're an adult rather than when you're meant to do college.
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Because when you go back, if you go back to it later, you're kind of like, you kind of want to be there, and you kind of, it's not like, it didn't just feel like the next step in life you're supposed to do. You actually want it to go for a reason, you know. I want to learn, like, you know, you'll have life beat you down a little bit, so then you'll be like, I need to take care of this, and then you can like go back to school, and you'll have like interests, you know.
Yeah.
The people that were like older, even in the art classes, seem to have a certain kind of level of organization and respect towards the thing. Well, you had two people. You had people that thought like they were entitled since they were older, that they just like deserved to, they just thought they were awesome and all their ideas should be heard, you know. And then you had people that just were there because they were just like, oh, I wanted to learn this, you know, and that was that.
Yeah.
And they took it pretty seriously. They weren't the ones throwing paintings into trees, I can say that much. Let's see how I can do this here. Oh, man, I thought I was going to be destroying this one at the end. I'm kind of relieved.
Looking good. I like it.
Do you guys find that with like is there a certain point in your process where you feel like anything can happen, like where you're like, you could be confident at first and then it goes off, but is there always like a point in one of your pieces where you feel like, well, this at any moment this could go off the rails, like I could lose it?
Totally, like right now. Like I'm constantly shifting colors right now. Constantly shifting. Like I don't even know if I like this like pose or this expression. I already know that at the end of this, I'm going to change his shoulder, but I need to paint the rest of it and then change it. Like, yeah, I feel like that comes about even at work, and like our schedules are so like fast, you know, like everything's got to be done like right away. So like once you commit and you decide that you have to change something, it just blows everything away. You're just like, oh fuck, I have to, but I have to do it now. You know.
Would you say is there any kind of what I'm trying to think here is there any kind of consistency of when that moment happens? You know what I mean? Like I find, at least with oil paintings, you'll start, it'll be okay at first, and then you'll kind of be putting things in, and there's always a moment for me, like if I'm doing a one-sitting oil painting like this, like maybe like 40 minutes in, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how I could possibly make this work, and then it pulls through it. Sometimes it doesn't, but then it's a matter of at that moment, that's that make or break pull through it. Like, does that happen? I don't do digital a lot. Does that happen a lot with digital, or?
I guess it depends on who's working on it. Like for me specifically, I know that I can change it. It's just that if I'm working in a way that I know just isn't yielding results. Like if I'm in a group, it's really just about the group for me. Like if I'm in a group and it's working out and my brush strokes are working, then it's good. But like I'll sit back sometimes and just look at it and like, man, I need to start over. You know, I need to go back to the line work and just do this over again. I don't know exactly when. It's just there's just something about it when I'm looking at it. You know, just man, there's something I got to do. Like I can do things smoother. I'm making things too complicated or something. You know. Like once I get to that point where it feels like I guess it's just not as simple as it should be, then I just start over. It usually gets better, I think, after that. Or that even though I have to go through this and fix it, that it ends up being better than what it was going to be. You know.
Yeah, I get the same thing. It's like it'll usually be I feel like I can't get into the zone with the picture, and that means that I know that there's something fundamentally wrong with it. Usually something that I messed up at the sketch stage, but I went all the way to the colours and didn't fix. And then it would just be like, I just have to restart this. And I found that every time I've completely restarted a picture, I've done it a million times faster than the first time when I was trying to fight through it. Just because I'm doing it correctly that time.
Yeah.
Well, I can see it, because then you're not just sitting there doing these minor adjustments over and over, trying to push something where it should be. You just have it right when you do it again.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad this one's working out. Oh, I really didn't want to have another smashed piece. Or in this case, I guess it'd be a scrape off, like.
Just put some gesso over.
Well, yeah, it'd be that thing. Like usually, like the times I'd ruin the oil paintings, I'd scrape it, and then Sarah goes, "What's that sound?" And then switches paints. Like, oh. And then I feel bad because sometimes, like, even the person who's like, it's their photo is watching.
Yeah.
And they like kind of liked it. Like I had people reach out to me later, like, I really liked that piece. So, like,
you killed it.
I'm sorry, I did.
Yep. Sometimes, man, you just gotta.
It's not you, it's me. You know?
Yeah. There's just something inside you. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't live with it.
It's hard for me to guesstimate what his head should do. I feel like I don't quite have that right yet.
Guesstimate.
Guesstimate. Lot like estimate, kind of the same thing. So why did I say guesstimate? It really is the same word, right? I mean, what's the difference between estimate and guesstimate? Is a guesstimate not even a word? Like a guesstimate? That's slang. Help me out, chat. Schmoonify. I talk about this with a friend of mine a lot. We both didn't go to uni when we were supposed to. We are now, but it took us nearly a decade to figure out what we even wanted to do.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Google says that guesstimate is to estimate based on a mixture of guesswork and calculation. So it is a word.
Makes it sound like I know what I'm talking about.
The word is classed as informal.
Which is totally my style. I play it casual. Wow, my camera is making his forehead way brighter than it actually is. At least I hope so. I think I have some adjustments I need to make there. Whoop.
Oh, what are you doing? We'll probably go for another half an hour and then wrap up if that's okay with you guys.
That sounds good to me.
I'm gonna eat some chicken.
You were talking about chicken earlier. You were thinking about chicken this whole time.
Yeah.
You're like, ever since I started working on chicken, it was a really interesting experience, and my greatest influence was chicken.
Chicken.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Chickens.
Chickens. My fiance just brought over chicken and waffles from Roscoe's.
Oh, you guys hit up Roscoe's?
Yep, she went over with some friends and it's waiting for me.
I'm so curious about that. Are you close by Roscoe's? Like my friend in LA, he lives in Santa Monica now, but he lived like right around the corner from Roscoe's, just like right around the corner.
It is so good. It's very close. It's like there's one in Pasadena. We're pretty close there. We're in Glendale right now. Pasadena is only 15, 20 minutes from here.
Isn't the main one just in Hollywood?
There is one in Hollywood as well. That's the original one. The original one's in Hollywood.
Okay, that was the one I was thinking. It was the old Hollywood.
Oh yeah, and that one's awesome. It's great. It's always busy.
I gotta try that. I haven't had it, and and they have that out here too. Like there's a chicken and waffle place. I think in Jack London Square, out here in Oakland, and I really should try it because I remember thinking like, oh, that's so weird, and then I saw like a photo of it, and I'm like, you know what? I could see why that would be so good.
Yep, it's delicious. I thought the same thing. Like, what? Chicken and waffles are crazy. Most delicious thing.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking that sounds really odd.
Yeah, no, you gotta try it. You can make it yourself. It's really good.
You just gotta think about it for a second. You're like, oh, chicken, and then you're like, oh, the salty, and then the sweet. And it starts making sense.
Wait, what? Salty and sweet?
Well, I don't know, spicy, sweet, whatever.
Maple donut with bacon.
Donuts? What are you guys on about? Donuts and waffles and...
You've never had a donut?
Like maple like maple bars? Those donuts?
No.
Wait, have you just had a donut before?
I have had a donut before, but I don't know what a maple donut is. Is that a donut with like maple syrup on it or what?
No, it's like a donut with like the brown sugary top.
Ah.
That's maple flavor. We just call it that because we're weird.
Wait, what doesn't look anything like a donut?
It's made of donut parts.
Yeah, it's made of donut. It's just shaped different. Donuts can come in all shapes and sizes.
Yeah, look at that. It's got bacon. So good.
Okay. I mean, donuts to me are just like the things that come 6 and 8s with various toppings.
Well, there's those too.
You get donut holes, which are like the little ball things, which are like the yummiest things in the universe.
You guys don't get like the twisties or the bars, the donuts that shape just kind of like a bar of donuts.
No.
Oh man. Wow. Man, that is so...
You're having a moment there, you're just like,
that's
wow,
awesome.
Really?
That's so rad.
Now I really
got an
want
awesome
donut.
tin piece. Yeah, no, actually some donuts. We got an awesome tin piece right here. Check this out. Look at that. God, the line work in this one's amazing. He's even got like the texture for just like the head and the scruff.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's dope.
He looks so like sad, like someone's hurt him. I want to give him a hug.
No, someone stole his chicken.
Someone stole the chicken and waffles.
Yeah, that's what happened.
And donuts.
And the donuts.
I want all these things now. I'm gonna get some chicken and waffles next time I go down to LA. I'm gonna make an adventure of it. I'm gonna get in touch with you and Ken, and we're gonna have a chicken and waffle adventure.
Definitely, you'll love it.
I try to go down. I'm trying to go down to LA more regularly. I got friends down there. It's like a city. I need to also just because I have friends down there. Also, they're artists down there, and we need to keep that bridge. You know, they need to have the bridge here to the Bay Area, and I need to have that bridge down to LA. You gotta stick together as artists. You gotta stick together. The whole world's against you.
They are. I don't think we're losing our time. I hate you.
Oh, I think we're losing some audio here. Is it sounding staticky to you guys?
Oh no, is it happening to you guys? I've had like jumpiness the whole show, but chat's been assuring me that it sounds fine for them.
I just heard some jumbliness on Jermaine's audio. I wonder if the chat gets some feedback. How does the audio sound to the chat right now? I really like this piece. I really like this piece, Tim Drew. This is one of my favorite ones he's drawn in a long time.
That's pretty awesome.
I hate all the other ones. No, I'm just kidding. I just really like this one.
James Lien says, "Who is Jermaine's favorite Marvel superhero?"
That sounds like a trick question.
Shut up, James.
Oh no, I like where this is going.
I love you too. Let's see. Favorite Marvel superhero? That's a tough one. It might have to be Spider-Man. If I'm gonna go mainstream, Spider-Man has always been a huge influence to me. Just because I love the wisecracking dudes. Yeah. I love the wisecracking teenagers and the underdogs. So.
Mm-hmm.
That's Spider-Man.
DC. Is he Marvel or DC? Oh my god. I don't know anything about comics.
Blasphemy. Spider-Man is
I don't know comics, man.
Spider-Man is definitely Marvel.
Oh god.
DC's like Batman and Superman and stuff.
We probably just lost half our viewers now because.
Yeah. How dare you! Marvel superheroes.
I think Maestro Chi just posted theirs. I'm just gonna go find it.
Sarah, who's your favorite Marvel superhero?
I wouldn't be able to tell you who was Marvel or who was DC in order to answer that question. I know that I'm a comics person I actually work in the comics industry, but
yeah, that's pretty insane. It's bad enough for me, but that's really something else for you. What you should have said was Darth Vader and just really make people angry.
Technically, he's on Marvel now because.
My favorite would be Captain Picard. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, you and Tim are Star Trek fans. I don't have a preference. Which is maybe that's bad too to say that. Is that bad?
Choose a side. No, you're good.
I can't read Marvel and DC. Is that weird? Like I can't read them.
Can't read them as books.
Like
what?
There's certain comics that I can. There was like I think Arkham Asylum or something that I enjoyed, but
Sure. Yeah.
a lot of them like. I can't read something that's panel, like just square panels after each other. It drives me insane. It's like
some comics are like that.
Exactly.
Some of my favorite comics push that to the extreme, where you open a page and there's like 43 panels in one page.
Oh no, I can't do it.
It's the most amazing thing ever.
No.
Some of my favorite comics do that. You're nuts.
I know, but I can't
This
do
is
it. That's
your
why I
fault.
like manga because it's so like.
You and your
the
splash
don't
pages.
matter. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, sorry. We have a Maestro Chi piece on the stream. I'm late. Here's a quick one. Well, for quick, that's pretty awesome.
I gotta switch over.
Oh, there's paint on the handle. Ugh.
What are you doing?
I had the brush in my mouth because I had to use my hand, and then there was paint on the brush.
I really like the dimensions of light. I feel like they've got the light theory on the face.
Yeah.
Proper. That's not a
feel like-
sentence, but it's 5 a.m., so deal with it.
Amazing. I don't know how you're still awake.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. You keep it together. You're a trooper.
Yeah, that's amazing.
This one's interesting because they also have like kind of a style. Like this one has kind of a kind of an, I don't know. There's something about that. There's this kind of cross between and kind of an abstracted, angular kind of style combined with traditional techniques on top of it. So it has like a very geometric kind of shaped head, and the angle of the face is kind of part foreshortened, but then part just kind of, kind of pulling into one end. But then everything is very traditionally rendered. That's really interesting. I love this stuff. I love it. Schmoonify loves the job. How's your piece coming, Sarah?
God, I'm not going to finish.
Were you aiming to finish tonight?
No, but I need to finish tomorrow. But this show means that I'm not going to wake up till about 1 p.m. tomorrow. Unless if the guys with 2,000 bloody business cards wake me up. So, oh my god, I don't know. I'll zoom out so you can see. I'm kind of like, it's early/late right now, and I'm finding it hard to focus on drawing. Like, I want to do the line art. I can't do it, but whatever. So I'm just starting to do the line art for the characters. And then, let me pull that out. There's the colouring at the moment. I need to finish the city, but I need to make it a lot more like, what do you call it? Like apocalyptic, kind of like run down. It's very old. It's been there for I think 10 years or something. So it's not that long, but it completely abandoned and completely destroyed. So I really need to put some of that into the image and really show that off. I've got like the giant wires and the like. Scaffolding in the spire showing, but that's already in the design, so I need to really pull some of the scaffolding out of all the buildings, but it's like trying to figure out how to do it and get the colouring working right and all of that under a time limit.
Nice.
You got a building in there that looks like the Transamerica building in San Francisco. Shout out to the Bay Area, even if you didn't mean it.
Wait, I need to Google what.
You got Transamerica building. Yeah.
I was so upset with okay. So what, like that spike down the bottom right, you think?
Yeah, the pyramid building.
I get a lot of like when I show the images of the spire from my book to people, they're like, "Oh, so it's based in London then?" Because literally, when I brought out my book, a year later they built the Shard. I was so upset. And it's like, no, the spire is completely different from the Shard.
They took that from you.
They took it. It was mine. I wrote this book when I was 13. Give it back.
I had it first. I'd like to think there was some guy, like you were working on the book, right? You're in a park, 13-year-old you. You're in a park and you're daydreaming about whatever manga character you were daydreaming about that I'm sure I made fun of at some point. And then you're drawing the buildings, and then there's some architect sitting behind you like, "Oh, I just can't figure it out." He looks over and sees that building. He's like, "Oh, do I dare steal the dreams of a child?" Yes, I do. He runs out of there. Sure enough, took it from you.
I feel like the answer to that question was always going to be yes.
Of course.
I'm reading the chat. Roger David says, "Is it over? I'm always late to this."
Hey, good old
We're
Roger
still
David.
here for a little bit.
You got in right at the very end.
Know.
He popped in last week and said hello. Threw down a quick drawing. Roger's always usually working when we're having this going
on. Jeffrey Mason says, Mike, you should check out Stephen Russell Black's works. I think you'd dig his work.
Stephen Russell Black. I'm going to Google that right now. That guy has 3 names.
That's when you know it's worth it. He's got 3 names.
For real, it's serious.
Jermaine, if you could work on any project, either that's around now or that you could go back in time and work on, which would you pick?
Oh, shoot. Oh, man. Man, there's so many. I would have loved to work on Samurai Jack. I feel like that's something, like, you guys already know. Like, like holy crap. Definitely Samurai Jack. And I think oh man, you guys just talked about it earlier. It was Batman the animated series. Like those are like some of the
that original was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I remember even being a kid and watching that and just thinking to myself, like, I haven't really seen a cartoon like this before. Like it was so you felt like an adult. Like that might have been one of the first times I was a kid where I felt like I'm watching an adult show. It's a cartoon, but this is an adult show.
Like it was still a cartoon, but it had such a darkness to it that like it freaked me out. Like that show freaked me out when I was a kid. Like I just couldn't handle some of the scenes, just because it was the noir feel. You know, just the lighting in the shots, like the lightning when it would strike in some of the scenes. It was just everything was composed in a way where it's like, is this really for kids? Like, I couldn't tell. But then he would fight some mud monster or whatever, and then I'd be like, okay, that's cool.
I just love it when they can take like a risk on a show like that that's a kid show, because obviously like a lot of kids usually they just like details and this and that, and then they do a show like that and then it still connects with kids. Like I remember being a kid thinking like, and like really loving, like I don't remember like having any preference towards minimalism when I was like 7. But then watching that I was just like, oh, it's just like shapes, but it looks so cool. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
God, I gotta watch that again. It's been a long time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What are other cartoons there back then? I'm trying to think. Really cool to like forget about.
Oh
no. It's like when you first time like you see Akira, like when you're younger, you know.
Oh gosh,
You're just like, oh my god, this is intense.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to cut it on that. That was so cool. So crazy.
I had like the DVD that. And it was like the special edition, and it had all the storyboards. Like the one disc was like all the storyboards of the show.
Oh, totally.
Oh, the whole movie. I was like, that was pretty cool.
I love
Which is pretty much just the comic. Like,
yeah. For sure. I feel like that anime, Fooly Cooly, FLCL, that one's amazing.
Everyone's telling me to see that. I need to find it.
It's only 6 episodes, and it's one of the craziest concepts, and it's just really, really cool. Just like a robot comes out of your head and fights giant monsters is the coolest thing.
That sounds
literally comes out of your forehead.
That sounds like Persona.
Yeah.
Persona's so good.
I gotta play that still. My friend Andrew really liked Persona.
Persona's
really
amazing.
Really cool.
Trinify has done another piece, but I can't see it.
I can show it.
Oh, you've got it?
Oh, I can show it if need be, because I'm at a good point.
Awaiting its arrival into the intertubes.
I'm pretty okay with how this painting turned out. Like, it makes the forehead look so bright from the camera, but I swear it doesn't look that bright on my piece. It's just weird. It must be like sometimes the angles of the brushes pick up light and they make things look brighter and weirder than they should be. I'm kind of happy with this one. Oh, thank God. I'm working on a big painting, like a big figurative painting in my studio, and I think I'm just kind of a little nervous because it's expensive. That's why I'm nervous.
Yep.
Because I had to buy white. I had to buy 2 tubes of white, a yellow ochre, and a burnt umber. Do you know how much that costs for the larger oil paints?
How much?
Like, it wasn't these little tubes. It was the ones that are bigger.
$130.
Oh,
Three colors.
God.
Yeah. And then I got to the studio and realized I didn't have the round brushes I needed. I only had a really big one and one that was too small. I bought 3 brushes, and that was like $45. So I spent $170 on 3 brushes and 4 tubes of paint. And I'll tell you right now, to work on that big painting, I freaking just like burned through like half of that paint, like mixing it on the palette. To pre-mix a palette like this, but for a scale of like, it's something, I think it's about 5 by 6 feet or something like that, maybe a little smaller. So it's like, so I'm just like so nervous. I just go in and I'm just like, oh my god, this is the most expensive painting in the world.
Oh my god.
Because the landscapes, I didn't have to use as much paint, like they were large, but they were very like thinly painted. And these I'm working kind of like with more paint and more gestural. And it just cost a fucking fortune. And it just made me like, and it's so weird. Like I will spend money on all sorts of shit, but for some reason when I spend it on art supplies, I get all bummed, like I'm getting ripped off or something. When it should be the thing I'm most comfortable spending it on.
Is this a commission or is it a person?
No, this is just me. This is just how I have fun.
You can't complain. You did this to yourself.
I did it to myself. Maybe that's why I get upset, and I'm just like, because it's not like escapism. Like if I spend a bunch of money on like video games, I'm like, you're in that mental headspace, like I just need to relax, But then like if I spent it on work things, I'm like I had to do it, and then this is just like I did it to me, I didn't have to do it, but there was a thing inside of me that said I did it. I don't understand it. All right, let's see here. God,
I've got the piece from Schminify. Check this out.
Oh my god, it's the dog! It's the one with the puppy in the window.
Yeah, it's for
Oh, that's awesome.
I loved this picture. I was like, someone please draw an amazing picture for this.
That's adorable.
Just zoom in. So
It's adorable. Awesome.
I love it so much.
I love that motion in the hair, or the fur, I mean.
Yeah.
Just blah, 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 blah.
This little
great.
face. Oh, I love it.
The dog was adorable in that photo.
Foxtrot just showed up. Hey, Foxtrot.
So, yeah, Foxtrot, where have you been?
Here, I'll do this for you.
He's usually in here earlier. You'd be proud of me, Foxtrot. I didn't finish my piece. I finished it instead. Finishing is when I smash.
I smashed, that's all.
Hulk style. Get this last line without looking it up. Ooh, God, that was close. Yeah, I like that. That's nice.
Whenever this podcast is about to end, I get really hungry.
It's probably because your body's confused. Your body's like, is it breakfast? What do we? Let's just make her hungry. Let's just eat something. I don't even know anymore.
I've actually noticed that I've completely messed up my food schedule or whatever by doing this podcast, because every Monday I eat an absurd amount of a random food item.
Okay.
I remember you ate like a whole bag of cookies before an episode once.
Yeah, today I ate 8 cookies and 7 chocolate bars before we went on air, and that's an issue.
You know the best part is you were counting them. So like just picture like
I counted them afterwards.
2,
when I realised that there was
3.
significantly less in the bags than there was before, I then figured out how much I'd eaten, and I was like, I did a bad thing.
It was worth it though.
I don't know. I don't know if it was. Foxtrot says your piece looks great, Mike.
Oh, thank you.
It was it got a little scary there in the first hour, but pulled through.
That's literally every episode.
I know it is. I saved this one. The smearing thing worked, and oh god, you know the funny thing is with this painting is usually I premix a palette, and that's what does it. And I really hardly used, like, this was my premix palette, and I hardly used it this painting. Like, that color was really useful, and that one was a little useful, but I didn't use a lot of it, and that's weird because usually if I steer too far away from the premix palette, I screw it up. But this one was safe. I think I'm going to leave the shirt kind of raw like this.
I can't remember who it was, but someone did a really interesting post about palettes on the Artist Lounge the other day. And they were an oil artist, I believe, and they'd moved into digital work, and they did all their palettes on digital. It looked so cool. I wish I could remember who did that.
I feel like I can't get a good view of this thing with my lighting here because it makes the forehead look way brighter than it actually is.
Yeah, that looks good though.
It's making it like it totally does not glare like that. Like,
looks like it's gonna explode.
Maybe I'll put it this way. See, that's what the forehead actually looks like.
Yeah, he's like looking radioactive.
Yeah, so it's had poor lighting this episode. I should try to find some a better light solution. Because it's like for making the painting it's fine, but I'm realizing visually it's not looking right. Maybe I can find some way to attach a light to come from a better angle. Whatever. Mike, your piece reminds me of the Thing from the Fantastic Four meets the Hulk. Oh, is it green? Did I make him green?
No, don't worry, it's not green.
Oh, okay. I might have made it. I wouldn't have minded if I did. Though I would be like a little bit like dull because I wouldn't have known. Thank you, Shmoonify. Let's see here.
Okay. I think we're gonna wrap up in a minute if you guys are alright with that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
That's good.
I wonder if my friend Dokolo watched. I was talking to someone last night. I met at our boogie night at the bar in San Francisco where a good guy named Dokolo, give a shout out to him because I met him because we were chilling, listening to old school boogie music, and then we go outside and then proceed to talk about the Situationist international movement in France back in the day. So it was I felt like that's like a little bit of everything that evening. And one minute you're talking about, you're jamming out to synthy boogie jams, and the next minute you're talking about Guy Debord writing. That made my night. It was just like that's a special moment for me. All right. I hope he's watching. Let's see here. Just put more paint on my hands. I am going to switch to the other camera.
I'm going to warn you that I'm saving and that everything may break.
Okay, so actually I'll wait to switch to cameras until we know we're clear of the save.
I'm down.
Because it might end right here. Let's see.
My computer is attempting. It has the little spinning ball of death. You know what's interesting? The spinning ball of death isn't appearing on the recording. But I can see it on my screen. But you can see my mouse on the recording.
Yeah. Well, that's actually nice then, that the spinning ball of death doesn't show up.
It's interesting though. Like, what program tells it to not do that?
Good question. I want to know. What are you up to, Mac?
I love your little, like, tiny red sketch at the bottom left, Jermaine.
Oh, this one right here. This little guy. I like coming up with, I guess, different variations on the subject before I go at it, I guess. I try to push it as much as possible, but then sometimes the ones that I push just I don't like as much.
Saving dogs. I wonder if I can switch screens whilst it's saving and just ignore it. Stop. Oh, yeah, okay. There we go.
I'm all switched up here too.
Random dance.
The random dance, the random switch dance.
We were at Thorpe Park. There's a ride called X, and to walk, you know, you have to like line up for the rides or whatever. There was like a dark hallway that you had to line up in, and the entire time you were in there, they played like old dance music from like the 90s with rave lights on. And you're just standing there with like 100 people around you, just in like a really tight space in a line. And there's just like rave music. So me and my friends were just like, just the whole time, just like mid-rave.
Well, if I was in there, I'd be like, I remember this song.
Yeah, we were all like that too. It wasn't that long ago.
Sure, it wasn't. When it was the like 90s, 4 years old.
Yeah.
You were still pushing it down the street with a stick.
What?
The stick with the horse, the wooden horse head on the end of it. Your
pinwheel right.
hat.
Yes, that's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I had a pocket watch.
Oh wait, no, I was just gonna say, I was making it way too American. You would have just had your leather strap satchel with the books, and then like the cloak jacket thing.
Oh, what? That only goes to like there.
Yeah, and then you know, I'm trying to think like what would be going on out there in the stereotypical.
We did have a stick thing, but we had like, we'd have a hoop, like a really big hoop, like a hula hoop type thing, yeah. And a stick, and you'd have to hit the hoop whilst running, and keep the hoop rolling. Yeah.
That
was the thing.
The old hooping down the street.
It wasn't a thing when I was a kid, but it was a thing once.
It was a thing when our grandparents were a kid. Things were simpler back then. You could, you'd go on your paper route, right? They give you your 32 cents, and you'd buy your hooping stick, and you'd see a matinee and a newsreel, and you'd buy a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread and a steak and a pony. And then you bring it home and still have some money left over for some books for school.
What's happening?
Okay. Chat, is there any last minute things before we say what we have coming up and sing a song?
No, I think that's it. I'm just like staring at Jermaine's screen because at 1 second it was like just straight up like
awesome
contours of everything, and then all of a sudden all of these colours appeared, and I was like,
boom, color.
That's awesome. It's funny because when I'm painting, like it's hard for me to see the screens from the angle that I have. So lots of times, like I won't see anyone's art until like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
To see what route they took and where they took it. It's
nice and weird.
I like it. It's funky. Okay, so Jermaine, where can people find your artwork, and have you got anything coming up soon?
Yeah, so you can check out, I'm always posting stuff on my social media stuff, so Instagram, everything. I have a convention, hopefully, was it October 30th to the 2nd at Kamikaze in LA, so I'll be doing that, Kamikaze, hopefully, because of things that are happening. I don't know if we're confirmed or not. So I'll find out soon. But otherwise, you can check out my artwork at jermainetime.com, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm always on Instagram. I'm always posting stuff. And be on the lookout. I got a bunch of crazy projects coming out. I'm working with Dante Bosco, who is the voice of Prince Zuko in Avatar. And and we are making an animated series based on his character Rufio from Hook.
Oh my god, you're making an anime series based on Rufio?
Yeah, hopefully. So we're working on that as a project, and we're gonna see where it's gonna go. Hopefully it works out.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, hilarious.
Yeah, so that's a thing.
Yeah, keep posted on that, man. Post that in the artist lounge as that goes along.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and I want to see more of that little, like, the little boxes with the evil guys in it. I can't wait to see Boo.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I want to see that series as that's finished, too.
I will finish 2 more of those by the end of the month so that they'll be available for Kamikaze. So.
Awesome. Have fun at Kamikaze. Yeah. I know a lot of artists that are super excited for that and getting last-minute prints ready for it, so I hope you have fun.
For sure. Thank you very much. Thank you. This was fun, guys. Appreciate it. I will be here every other time.
Lovely to have you on. Mike, have you got anything coming up, and where can people find your stuff?
mcstefan.com. I also have mikestephanstudio.com, but I don't know if I'm actually going to use that website. And then I'm on Instagram at mcstefan and Tumblr, mcstefan.tumblr, though I tend to be more on top of my Instagram. We got Roger David's show, and that was show Ignite. This will be the last weekend. Oh, I know it goes through the next week, but it's coming near the end. So if you're in the Bay Area and you want to see the show, you can either see it on a Saturday from 1 to 5, or just reach out to me and I can schedule it by appointment. It's an awesome show. That was a lot of fun. It felt really good. And to think, that was a show we met through Reddit Gets Drawn, and that's how that show happened.
Awesome.
And then beyond that, I mean, I'm always in my studio and everything else I have going on still like too theory based to make any announcements or ideas of what's going on there. So we'll see where it goes. How about yourself, Sarah?
Okay, so I have MCM coming up, MCM London October. It will be on the 25th, I believe. It's that weekend, the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And yeah, I will be somewhere around CJ 17 and 18. I'll be on an end table and I'll have double tables. Follow my Facebook, which is facebook.com/Geisra, or my Twitter, which is @Geisra. If I have a working phone, I will be live tweeting and Facebooking from the show. But regardless of that, I will have scheduled uploads with the map of the show and stuff like that, so you can find me and also a bunch of my friends and stuff like that there. As for what I'll have at the show, new stuff, I'll have business cards.
1,000 of them.
Yeah.
New artwork for the London show, I don't know. There's nothing planned for brand new artwork for that London show. Obviously, the previous shows, the MCMs around the country, stuff was new because they hadn't been shown at those shows before, but I think everything that will be at October has also been shown at May MCM London. So at the moment there's nothing new, but I'm trying to put together having originals to be sold at the show, as in the originals comic pages from book 1 and 2. So if I have that set up, they will be there at the show. I know that there's a few people who collected everything from the books who want to get some of those and have been asking for years. So I'm going to try and get that set up so that they're there for this weekend. Other things, hopefully I'll have this banner finished. If you're interested in seeing that, hopefully that will be there at the show. I'll post on Facebook if it's finished or not. And then I think that's it. I am hoping to try and get a Final Fantasy piece finished over the next week or two. That obviously won't be sold at the show because fan art is banned, but I will have it available from my website. So people who want to buy fan art, you can buy it through my website. I know a lot of the MCM guys ask, where is it all? But you can get it from there, and people can order it from there. It's all been good. So yeah, Book 1 and 2 will be there. Classified will be there. And all of the 6 Escape series art prints will all be there. So they're like girls in fantasy or exploring settings. So yeah, that'll all be there. And there's all the amazing artists as usual, like Destiny Blue, we've got Davy Shirley. I don't know if Matt Dyson is there. I don't think Matt Dyson is at this show. I'm not sure. Double check the schedule for that. Romantically Apocalyptic is always there. Stupid Fox is always there. So all the top webcomics are always there. So yeah, go on the website at London MCM. Just Google London MCM and you'll get it. And you can find the guest list and also the list for the Comic Village people. It looked like there were some really interesting guests in terms of behind-the-scenes people. So producers, artists, I believe there's like the creator of Attack on Titan or something like that is going to be there. So those kinds of people are going to be there. They don't have many like LFCC type like Star Trek stars and whatever, but it does look like they have a really nice lineup of voice actors and behind the scenes people and producers and directors. So if you want to get your work or talk to someone who is involved in that, or even just hear them doing their talks, do get onto that and make sure that you get a booking slot for their like timings. But yeah, that's everything. And follow my Facebook for everything, like all the announcements and all that lot. Awesome. What are you doing?
I had to. There's a garbage, and I had to push stuff into it. I regretted it because I realized there were some mineral spirits on that, and I should probably throw that in a garbage that's not in my bedroom, or else I'll just be inhaling mineral spirits all night.
Oh,
anyway. Don't be like me, people.
By the way, Shrewd, if I said, love Jermaine's piece, your style is epic.
Yay. Thank you.
Also, waffles. Anyway, that's it. We'll be back same time next week with a Halloween special episode where we'll be doing the Inktober Drawline thing. So get all of your Inktober supplies ready, and we shall be doing that. And we may possibly dress up. So if you want to dress up with us, then I'd love to see your photos and stuff. What was that?
Oh God, you made promises.
I've already been planning my outfit, dude.
Oh, I'm so bad at Halloween. I gotta get better at this. Okay.
Awesome.
Maybe I'll go with my original plan A I mentioned earlier. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Now this is the part where I sing us out, and then I sing a little song. So glad that you joined us. Thank you for coming on the Artist Lounge.